100,000 mountains, cliffs, towering old trees. A Taoist temple stands alone among the clouds on the top of the mountain. There are two people in front of the Taoist temple, one old and one young. Lin Feng, 10 years have passed. You are invincible in the world. You can go down the mountain. The old man's voice is vicissitudes. If you want to hit me, just say so. Lin Feng looked at the old man with hatred in his eyes. The old man was silent for a moment, then said, "Actually, I beat you for your own good." "Ah!" Lin Feng sneered when he heard the words, but didn't reply. "Lin Feng, do you hate me very much?" The old man suddenly asked. "I hated it before. What about now?" "It doesn't matter now. 10 years have passed, and it doesn't make any sense to say these things. Yeah, it's meaningless. How many decades are there in life? Years are like knives cut tinja. It's as strong as me, but I still haven't been able to jump over the unreachable shore." The old man sighed. He raised his head with difficulty and looked at the distant sky. At this moment, the sun is setting, and the setting sun is dusk. The sunset glow intersects with the clouds, and the afterglow falls in the vast mountains and forests, reflecting a beautiful luster. The setting sun is infinitely good, but it's almost dusk. The old man sighed and said, "Lin Feng, can you call me master?" Lin Feng lowered his head, with the same sneer still on the corner of his mouth. The old man seemed to have gotten used to it, and continued to speak on his own. "Lin Feng, what do you think the fairy world is like?" "Lin Feng, I want to eat dumplings." "Lin Feng, I have a toothache." The scene gradually quieted down. Whoa! The evening wind blows slowly, bringing a little coolness. Good half sound. Lin Feng sensed something was wrong and looked up at the old man. But it was discovered that at some point, the old man had closed his eyes and lost any breath. See this scene? Lin Feng stepped forward and picked up the old man's body and said coldly, "Don't you just want to trick me down the mountain and then find a reason to beat me up? Why do you do such absurd things as pretending to be dead?" Can't. No matter what Lin Feng said, the old man didn't respond anymore. His face was gradually turning purple, and the temperature of his body was gradually cooling down. Her skinny body weighed less than 80 caddies, and she completely lost the fairy tale appearance she had back then. Memories gradually came to mind. 10 years ago, Lin Feng is only 22 years old and has just graduated from university. In order to fulfill his promise to his girlfriend, he took a car to Yinchuan alone and went to his girlfriend's house to meet her parents. Unexpectedly, on the way, I met this mysterious old man. The old man said that he was born with a spiritual body and a good seed for Taoism. Then, regardless of his objection, he was forcibly taken to this inaccessible mountain. This stay is 10 years. In 10 years, the old man gave him the most rigorous training in the world. Every day before dawn, you have to get up and practice. Practice boxing at 7 o'clock. 10 o'clock leg training. Sword practice at 12 o'clock. 14 o'clock practice pupil technique. 18-point formation method. Blackjack alchemy. After 0 o'clock, I began to exhale and breathe. Day after day, year after year. In the past 10 years, he wanted to escape countless times, wanted to escape from here, and wanted to go home. But every time, he would be easily caught and beaten by the old man. In the worst case, he almost lost half his life. Although cultivating immortality is a great opportunity, Lin Feng doesn't care at all. His girlfriend is still waiting for him to propose marriage, and his elderly father, mother, and younger sister are all waiting for him to make money to support the family. How can he stay here? But no matter how much he begged, the old man remained unmoved. He once tactfully proposed that he wanted to report a letter to his family, and even knelt down to beg, but the old man refused. Instead, after beating him up, he said coldly, "Cultivating the Tao is going against the sky. You must cut off the cause and effect of the world of mortals. Lin Feng, unless I die, you will never go down the mountain." From that moment on, Lin Feng hated the old man in front of him. He practiced hard every day, hoping to achieve success in cultivation as soon as possible, surpassing the old man, and smashing his body into thousands of pieces to relieve the hatred in his heart. That's it. 10 years passed in a flash. He has been cultivating hard for 10 years, but he did not wait for the day when he surpassed the old man. Instead, he waited for this scene. This moment, Lin Feng felt empty in his heart. Not as happy as imagined, nor as angry as imagined, only calm and calm. Or, it is more appropriate to say that it is numb. I just feel that the persistence of these 10 years is so ridiculous. Evening wind blows more urgently. The temperature in the mountains seemed to drop below freezing point suddenly. Lin Feng buried the old man silently without saying a word. Then he stood up and turned around, looking at the green mountains in the distance with a pair of melancholy eyes. No one can understand how he feels at the moment. A long time. I didn't expect you to really die this time. Your body will slowly dissipate and become eternal, just like the gravel in the desert. In a sense, this may also be a kind of eternal life. Let's go and say goodbye. Never see you again. Lin Feng finally failed to call out the phrase master. In other words, what's the point of calling or not calling now? He sacrificed his long sword, and his whole body turned into a ray of light, disappearing into the sky. If there are people who practice Taoism here at this moment, they will definitely be shocked. It's hard to imagine that in this degenerate era, someone can fly with a sword. After half an hour, Lin Feng finally returned to his hometown in memory. His hometown is located on the outskirts of Jinling City, Jiangnan Province. And the home that I never forget is just a simple and unpretentious small bungalow. In front of the bungalow is a small pond with willow trees swaying by the pond. So, nothing has changed. Looking at the familiar scene in front of him, Lin Feng's deep eyes finally became moist. After a 10-year separation, I returned to my hometown. Because of his current state of mind, he couldn't help feeling sour and wanted to cry. Among the mountains, how many days and nights has he dreamed of such a scene? I dreamed of swimming in a pond as a child, dreaming of fireworks in the world, dreaming of green onions. People are still. I have disappeared without a trace in the past 10 years. Maybe my parents think I'm dead. And my sister, when I left, she was only 9 years old, and I don't know if she's in college now. The old man said that cultivating the Tao is a long way to live. You should cut off all karma in the world of mortals. But if you cut off these closest relatives, what is the purpose of cultivating the Tao? Lin Feng let out a long breath of foul air, calming down his chaotic mood. Over the years, isn't this the moment he's been waiting for? At this time, suddenly there was a terrified cry from inside the bungalow. I was wrong. I don't want the demolition money anymore. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Whoa, don't. Crack. Be honest. Hearing the frightened voice, Lin Feng's complexion changed suddenly. Is this Xiaoyao's voice? His sister is being raped? Damn! Lin Feng's expression was icy cold. The body almost seems to be teleporting, rushing towards the door of the bungalow. At the same time, inside the bungalow, two bald men with dragon and beast tattoos on their bodies were surrounding a girl with grinning laughter on their faces. Excellent. It's so cool. I didn't expect this nail house to be so beautiful. It's cheap for us brothers. Whoa, let me go. Lin Yunyao pleaded bitterly. Her delicate cheeks were flushed red, and the corners of her mouth were bleeding. She struggled with all her strength, but it was no use at all. No matter what she did, she couldn't stop the tearing of the two big men. Stop struggling. Let us brothers feel comfortable, and I'll let you go. Don't worry. We brothers will treat you well. Gege. The two bald-headed men held Lin Yunyao down and smiled wickedly. Lin Yunyao had strings of crystal-clear teardrops falling from her eyes. She knew that she might not be able to escape tonight. This moment, she is cold. She thought of her own experiences over the years. I am reluctant to buy clothes, and I have no money to go to college. Even when eating, you have to click and search. After a new year, everyone else would have a family reunion, and the table was full of big fish and meat, but she could only curl up on the bed in the bungalow alone, praying that the cold night would pass soon. After all, the house is about to be demolished. Unexpectedly, The demolition company bullied a girl of her own and kept the demolition fee extremely low. She disagreed, and as a result, these two people were attracted to rape her. She really didn't know. What did she do wrong? I obviously work so hard and want to live a good life. Why is God not willing to let me go? Perhaps as early as 8 years ago, when my parents left, I should have left this world with them. That way you won't be so tired. Thinking of this, Lin Yunyao closed her eyes in despair. Like a marionette, she gave up resistance. Seeing that Lin Yunyao finally stopped struggling, the two bald men laughed even more presumptuously. And right now, boom! The door of the bungalow was kicked open. Lin Feng rushed in like a bolt of lightning. When he saw the scene in front of him, his eyes were about to burst, and he felt that his whole heart was broken, bleeding like crazy. Ah! Die to me! Lin Feng roared angrily and slapped him across the air. Boom! Before the two big men had time to realize what happened, they were turned into blood mist by Lin Feng. Killed. Lin Yunyao covered her mouth and stared blankly at this terrifying scene. Under the fear of the heart, he passed out directly. Xiao Yao. Lin Feng hugged his sister tightly in his arms, weeping uncontrollably. He never thought that he would encounter such a scene when he came back. Looking at his sister's poor clothes and her red and swollen cheeks, he felt that his heart ached beyond measure. Good half sound. His mood gradually stabilized. After a moment's hesitation, he still reached out and pressed his sister's forehead, erasing the memory of the two big men being shot to death. After all, it was too bloody for a girl. P.S. Only the memory of the murder was erased. Then, he found another clean dress for his sister to put on and cleaned up all the blood in the house before sitting beside her, looking at her silently, as if no matter how you look at it, you won't get tired of it. 10 years no see. The younger sister has changed a lot from the little girl back then to a big beauty. At this time, Lin Yunyao slowly opened her eyes. When she saw Lin Feng, she immediately got up in fear and asked very vigilantly, "Who are you and why are you at my house? Just now, two big men came over to violate you, and I beat you away." Lin Feng squeezed out a smile on his face, but his heart was a little complicated. Judging from this reaction, my sister obviously didn't recognize me. However, this is also normal. 10 years ago, my sister was only 9 years old, and in the past 10 years, I have long hair fluttering. Both in appearance and temperament have changed a lot from back then. Violate me? Lin Yunyao shook her head, trying to recall what happened just now. Just now, it seems that two bully demolition workers forcibly broke into the house and then plotted against him, and then he seemed to faint. It seems that the uncle in front of him saved himself. Thinking about it this way, Lin Yunyao said in a low voice, Thank you." Having said that, she still looked vigilant and kept a relatively safe distance from Lin Feng. After all, it's already dark now, and a strange man is in her house. If the other party has any malicious intentions, it will be troublesome. Seeing my sister's cautious look, Lin Feng felt blocked. It's hard to imagine how my sister spent these years without me. And what about Mom and Dad? Where did you go again? Xiao Yao, don't you know me? Lin Feng tried his best to keep calm. You are? Lin Yunyao looked up at Lin Feng suspiciously. This face is haggard and melancholy. It doesn't look that handsome, but if you look closely, you will find that the man in front of you has a special charm. Besides, she actually felt that the man in front of her looked a little familiar. I seem to have seen it somewhere. I am your brother. A smile appeared on Lin Feng's face. Elder brother? Lin Yunyao froze for a moment. Afterwards, the face in the depths of memory gradually merged with the face in front of me. Her body trembled visibly, and her eyes quickly turned red, and there were obviously crystal-clear tears about to overflow from the corners of her eyes. Xiao Yao. It was really hard for Lin Feng to calm down at this moment. He cautiously stretched out his hand to rub his little sister's head like he did when he was a child. But he didn't expect his sister to push his hand away after a short moment of absence. Lin Yunyao seemed to be a different person all of a sudden. She rubbed her red eyes and said calmly, "You're wrong. I don't have a brother." Xiao Yao? Lin Feng was stunned. It's hard to imagine that my sister would say such a thing. He thought that after hearing that he was back, his sister would throw herself into his arms as happily as when he was a child. But I didn't expect my sister's expression to be so disgusted. Don't call me Xiao Yao. When my parents passed away, you weren't there. Now that the house is about to be demolished, you just came back? Lin Feng, I really don't want to speculate about you maliciously, but you are really disappointing. Lin Feng's heart trembled, and he hurriedly asked, aren't parents in good health? When you left and never came back, your parents spent all their money looking for you, but they were hit by a car on the road and just left. Lin Yunyao's voice was obviously crying. When did it happen? It's been a long time, just the second year after you left. She took another look at Lin Feng, sneered and said, after wandering outside for 10 years, how did you get into this look? Could it be that he was abandoned by that Chininoa? Now he is homeless, so he wanted to come back. Lin Feng, you are really not alone. Lin Feng hurriedly stepped forward and grabbed Lin Yunyao's arm. Xiaoyao, listen to my explanation. You may not believe it, but I have been cultivating immortals for 10 years. Let go of me. I don't want to hear your nonsense. Don't let go. I won't let you go. You are my sister. Lin Feng, don't force me. Do you want to force me to death to be happy? Lin Yunyao's voice was hysterical, and she looked like she was about to collapse at any moment. Lin Feng, I will never forgive you. Never. From the moment my parents passed away, I have no relatives in this world. Hearing this, Lin Feng froze on the spot, as if struck by lightning. Let the younger sister push herself out of the door, and then slam the door hard with a snap. Xiao Yao. Lin Feng stared blankly at the closed door. His heart ached. As expected, the beautiful scene of family reunion did not appear, but it was so bleak. In other words, from the moment he was brought back to the mountain by the old man 10 years ago, he was destined to end in tragedy. Lin Feng stood in front of the door panting for a long time before his mood gradually calmed down. I have to say that the old man's ruthless training really affected him. He felt that his blood had turned cold, as if no matter what happened, he could quickly adjust his emotions. Lin Feng let out a mouthful of turbid air and explained slowly. Xiaoyao, I really went to cultivate immortals back then, and I was locked up in one place for 10 years. I can only come out today. But inside the bungalow, there was no reaction at all. Xiaoyao, no matter what, since I'm back, I won't leave again. I don't care about demolition money or anything. You are my younger sister. Brother has the obligation to protect you. From now on, we are the only brothers and sisters left to depend on each other for life. Brother will not let anyone bully you again. Click. The door was opened. Lin Yunyao looked at Lin Feng complicatedly. She naturally didn't believe what Lin Feng said about being locked up in one place for 10 years. Does it make sense for you to say so much? Xiaoyao, your parents passed away. You must have had a hard time these years, right? Lin Feng said distressfully. Nothing to do with you. Lin Yunyao slammed the door shut again. Then, with her back against the door, she covered her mouth tightly with her hands, tears streaming down her delicate face. She really wanted to throw herself into her brother's arms like she did when she was a child, crying and seeking comfort. But when she thought of her brother leaving for a woman for 10 years after graduating from university, resulting in the death of her parents, she couldn't bring herself to forgive her brother. Especially since the elder brother also appeared in such a sensitive period of demolition, it is hard not to guess the real purpose of his return. Xiaoyao, you should have a good sleep first. Brother will stay outside, and call him if you need anything. Lin Feng said something silently. Then in front of the door, he found a flat place and sat down cross-legged. He is in a mess right now and needs to sort out his thoughts. Parents were hit by a car and killed in order to find themselves. The younger sister lived alone for so many years. One can imagine that. How much grievance and hardship my sister has suffered. Now that I'm back, no one will bully Xiaoyao in the future. Lin Feng let out a foul breath. Now that his parents have passed away, taking care of his younger sister and becoming a fairy is the only thing he has to do now. As for Inoa, Lin Feng sighed again. Chun Inoa was his girlfriend back then. The two have been together for 7 years. 3 years in high school, and 4 years in college. Although they fall in love with each other, they are bound to each other after all. 10 years have passed, and Chun Inua is 32 years old. It is estimated that children can play soy sauce. Forget it, what's the point of thinking about it now? After all, I've failed him. Lin Feng no longer thought about it. Start to sit cross-legged and breathe out. The breathing method he practiced is called Nine Heavens Immortal Development Method. According to the old man's words, this is a supreme immortal technique, which he obtained desperately from an ancient relic. It's a pity that this method cannot be practiced by ordinary people. Only those born with spiritual bodies can practice it. So when the old man saw Lin Feng, he was so excited. And so far, Lin Feng could also guess why the old man was so harsh and ruthless to him. The old man is amazingly talented, and he achieved the Tribulation Realm in the Dharma Ending era. Unfortunately, he was no match for the barrenness of this world. When his lifespan was exhausted, he failed to reach the immortal class. Asking about the fairy class is the obsession of the old man all his life. Therefore, in the last 10 years of his life, he found Lin Feng and taught Lin Feng everything he had learned in his life, hoping that Lin Feng could replace him in breaking the shackles of heaven and earth and breaking the curse that future generations would not be able to become immortals. And under the devilish training of the old man, Lin Feng was also extremely competitive. In just 10 years, he became a cultivator at the peak of the Golden Core stage. All repairs are divided into. There are 10 realms of Qi refining, foundation building, golden elixir, yuaning, leaving the body, transforming the gods, refining the void, combining the body, Mahayana, and crossing the catastrophe. Each realm is divided into several small realms. For example, the Jindan stage can be divided into 3 sublevels, Juden, Jidan, and Danbian, and the nascent soul stage can be divided into 3 sublevels, Juying, Jiaying, and Ingbian. Every time a small level is broken through, it is a big breakthrough for the cultivator, and the strength will rise exponentially. It can be said that in this Dharma Ending era, with Lin Feng's cultivation at the peak of the Golden Core stage, he could almost sweep the world. Of course, this was only what the old man told him before his death. Lin Feng didn't know exactly how, because he hadn't met other cultivators yet. The night was fleeting. Lin Feng opened his eyes from the practice and exhaled a foul breath. After breaking through the Golden Core stage, it is not easy for him to go further. Troubled by the thinness of spiritual energy in this area, it would take a long time to practice meditation alone if he wanted to gather the nascent soul. If he wanted to break through quickly, he had to find another way. At this time, the door of the bungalow was opened. Lin Yunyao came out with a basin of clothes, ready to wash clothes in the small pond in front of the door. Lin Feng immediately came to his sister's side. "Xiao Yao, do you want to wash your clothes? My brother will do it for you." "Unnecessary," Lin Yunyao replied coldly. Last night, Lin Feng sat cross-legged outside all night, and she noticed it all. But even so, it was impossible to eliminate the resentment in her heart. She always felt that her brother's return this time was probably for the demolition. "Don't be rude to me." Lin Feng grabbed the wash basin and walked towards the pond. But as soon as he squatted down, he realized something was wrong, because the wash basin was full of women's pussies. To wash or not to wash? Lin Feng was really in a dilemma. Although this is his younger sister, there is a difference between men and women after all. Besides, this kind of underwear, he rubbed it with his hands, which was really bad. But then again, looking at the washed white underwear, Lin Feng felt a little uncomfortable. For a girl, it is necessary to buy new underwear frequently, but my sister's these have been worn for several years. "What's the matter? People like you would be embarrassed?" Lin Yunyao stood on the embankment and said indifferently, "These clothes are too old. When the time comes, brother will buy you new ones." Lin Feng said softly while washing his clothes. "Stop being hypocritical." Lin Yunyao turned her head and walked into the room. Seeing this, Lin Feng couldn't help laughing bitterly. After washing the clothes, Lin Feng planned to go out and earn some money back. As a result, at this moment, a pink Wuling Mini drove up on the dilapidated gravel road in front of the house. A beautifully dressed girl with light makeup got out of the car. The girl is about 18 or 19 years old, wearing a white dress and black silk, 36D, youthful and vigorous, like a delicate porcelain doll. Her name is Li Xiaoke, and she is Lin Yunyao's high school classmate. Li Xiaoke took a strange look at Lin Feng standing at the door, and then shouted loudly into the bungalow. Xiaoyao, Xiaoyao, are you home? Lin Yunyao in the room heard the familiar voice, hurriedly wiped away her tears, ran out, and asked, Xiaoko, why are you here? Xiaoyao, did you cry just now? Li Xiaoke saw that Lin Yunyao's eyes were red, and immediately sensed something was wrong. Then, she seemed to think of something, and looked at Lin Feng, who was not far away, with vigilance. This man is not a good person at first glance. Did he bully you? No, I just accidentally fell down myself. Lin Yunyao shook her head, and then pulled Li Xiaoke into the house. Lin Feng wanted to follow, but just after taking 2 steps, the door slammed shut. It should be Xiaoyao's friend. With Xiaoyao's friend here, Xiaoyao's mood should be much more stable. Lin Feng stood outside the door, talking to himself. In fact, it doesn't matter whether he enters the house or not. With his hearing, he can clearly hear any sound in the house. The only thing that makes him feel uncomfortable is that Li Xiaoke's dress looks like a little princess, while his sister looks like a Cinderella. Although according to my sister's words, this place should be demolished, but it is obviously unrealistic to expect the demolition funds to come down. I still have to make money quickly. Lin Feng thought for a moment, then crouched in the corner and listened to what was going on in the room. In the small room, there is only a tattered bed and a table full of books. The 2 girls were sitting on the bed, whispering softly, not knowing what they were saying, and Lin Feng in the corner heard everything. If he knew, with Li Xiaoke's pungent personality, he would definitely yell at him. Xiaoyao, who is that wretched man? He has an unshaven beard and long hair. I don't know, maybe it's the scavengers who came to shit. That's it. No wonder Gay Li is so angry. It's shameful that such a big man should live like this. Lin Feng in the corner. Lin Yunyao didn't seem to want Li Xiaoke to comment on her brother like this, so she hurriedly asked, Xiaoko, why did you come to see me today? That's right. It's been a month since I registered at the school. The counselor asked me, when will you go to report? If you don't go, the school will regard you as a voluntary dropout. Li Xiaoke said quickly. Lin Yunyao bit her red lips when she heard the words, but did not reply. Is it because of tuition fees? Li Xiaoke glanced around the room, and then said, You can apply for a student loan. No matter what, it's not easy to be admitted to Jinling University. Why don't you just give up like this? I don't want to give up either, but I can't get my student loan application. Lin Yunyao smiled wryly. Why? Because of my poverty-proof material review, I can't pass. Damn. Is there any justice? You're not considered poor? Why don't those people let you pass? It's too much. Li Xiaoke said with a look of righteous indignation. Lin Yunyao had a bitter face and did not reply. She knew that it would be useless even if she talked to Li Xiaoke about this kind of thing. Li Xiaoke was just an ordinary family. Once he got involved with those people, it would be over. She didn't want what happened to her last night to be encountered by Li Xiaoke again. As for the police, just after she reported to the police yesterday, 2 big men came to kidnap her in the evening. She didn't believe it was a coincidence. Is it because of the demolition? The other party wants to force you to sell the homestead cheaply? Li Xiaoke felt very keen and asked in a low voice. Lin Yunyao nodded silently. Seeing this, Xiaoli gritted his teeth angrily. What the hell? This group of dogs only know how to bully a girl like you. If there are other men in your family, let's see if they dare to bully you. Hearing this, for some reason, Lin Yunyao felt very uncomfortable. Of course, in fact, this matter has reached a serious point. Even if there is a male in the family, it is difficult to solve it. Forget it. I don't plan to go to college anymore. It's nothing interesting. Anyway, I'm alone, and the whole family is not hungry. That's what I'm going to do in my life. I can live in peace and stability every day. No, if it doesn't work, I'll tell the counselor to ask my classmates to donate to you. Xiaoko, I can't live on others forever. Besides, going to college is not necessarily a good thing. I plan to go out to work, and seeing the world is also good. A smile appeared on Lin Yunyao's face. But right now, Boom! The door was pushed open directly from the outside, and Lin Feng strode in. This scene, the two little girls in the room were stunned. No! Xiao Yao, you have to go to school for me. Don't worry about money, I'll take care of it. Lin Feng's face was somber that he was about to drip. He never thought that his sister would not go to college because of lack of money. I am a dignified Jindan stage major cultivator, and my younger sister, who could be called an invincible powerhouse, has no money to go to school? Lin Feng felt like his heart was about to break. If he hadn't just listened to the wall, he wouldn't even know these things. Is there any proof of poverty? Who is holding his sister and not letting her go? Bullying my sister, right? Give me all to die. At this moment, Lin Feng wanted to kill people like never before and wanted to tear those who dared to bully his sister into pieces. The dogs in the house have to be slapped twice, and the eggs have to be shaken to turn yellow. Is there something wrong with you? It's illegal to break into a private house. Li Xiaoke shielded Lin Yunyao behind him and looked at the unshaven Lin Feng warily. I'm Xiaoyao's brother. Lin Feng replied calmly. Elder brother? Li Xiaoke looked suspicious and then turned his questioning gaze to Lin Yunyao. Didn't you just say that this person is a scavenger who came to shit? My brother died 10 years ago. It must be some kind of mental illness. Lin Yunyao replied blankly. Did you hear that? You crazy. Hurry up. Otherwise, the police will arrest you. And don't think that we two girls are easy to bully. Li Xiaoke naturally chose to believe in his best friend, so he immediately said loudly. Lin Feng let out a long breath of foul air when he heard the words and said slowly, Xiao Yao, whether you recognize me or not, you have to go to this university. And that's Xiaoke. I'm going out to earn money for tuition now, and I'll probably be back before dark. Please remember to take care of my Xiao Yao for me. I'm afraid she will do something stupid. After finishing speaking, Lin Feng turned his head and left, and quickly disappeared from the sight of the two of them. This scene, Li Xiaoke was really dumbfounded, with a dazed look on his face. The tuition fee of Jinling University is more than 5,000 a year. You, a man whose clothes are all washed white and reluctant to change, can earn more than 5,000 in a few hours? It seems that he is really crazy. I heard that it is not illegal for a crazy person to kill people. Fortunately, he left on his own initiative. Li Xiaoke patted his huge chest and said with lingering fear. Lin Yunyao had a complicated face and remained silent. She thought he came back to fight for the demolition funds, but seeing his appearance, she didn't quite look like him. Could it be that he really had a last resort? If he really brought back more than 5,000 yuan to pay his tuition, would he want it? Thinking like this, Lin Yunyao's pupils gradually lost focus and fell into childhood memories. After leaving home, Lin Feng ran directly to Jinling City. At his speed, a distance of 40 kilometers is only a matter of a few minutes. If Yujian flew, he could reach it in only 1 minute, but Jinling City was crowded with people after all, so he didn't choose to fly there. As for making money, for Lin Feng, there are too many ways to make money. He is good at setting up formations, refining medicine, making talismans, seeing a doctor, and looking at feng shui. He can make a lot of money every day if he takes out anyone. Simply thought for a moment. Lin Feng came to a market in the north of the city. This market is called Jiangning Department Store Trading Market. It is not the largest market in Jinling City, but it is definitely the most complicated market. Everything is sold here. Small items ranging from daily necessities, homemade folk remedies, large items such as gold, silver, jewelry, and antique jade. Even some Taoist priests who tell fortunes, exorcise ghosts, and catch evil spirits, and make fortune-telling can see a few of them. This kind of complex composition is doomed to chaos in the Jiangning Department Store Trading Bazaar, where fish and dragons are mixed, and it belongs to a three-way zone. Even the city management will call it a good guy when they see it. Lin Feng found an empty place, sat down cross-legged, took out another red brick, and wrote a line on the ground in front of him. Rent yourself for 2 hours. Omnipotent, price negotiable. After everything was done, Lin Feng closed his eyes and waited quietly for someone with predestined relationship to come up. In the bazaar, there was a lot of people. Soon, news of Lin Feng setting up a stall spread, and many passers-by came over to take a look and see the excitement. But no one came forward to ask, because what Lin Feng wrote was too exaggerated. Omnipotent. Omnipotent? You think you are a fairy? Even gods wouldn't dare to boast like that. Would they? Fraud. Must be a liar. A group of people surrounded Lin Feng and pointed. There are also some people who come up with a flirty attitude and deliberately ask some very weird questions. Can impotence be treated? Can it be extended by 5 centimeters? Lin Feng naturally didn't respond to these obvious jokes. At the same time, in a black Hummer on the side of the street, a group of big men were watching Lin Feng carefully through the window. One of the big men whispered to the middle-aged man in the back seat, "Boss, this man is too young. He is bragging at first sight. Let's go to other places to have a look. We can't waste any more time. If we don't find a solution, there may be big troubles on the construction site. How can it be so easy to find an expert who can subdue demons and exorcise ghosts?" The middle-aged man sighed. His name is Wang Chong. He is the chairman of a large construction group in Jinling City. These days, some very evil things happened on the construction site under the name of his company. Workers often hear children crying in the middle of the night, but when they go out to check, there is nothing. And when the workers returned to the dormitory, the crying outside started again. Just last night, when a worker went out to use the toilet, he said that he saw a weasel smiling at him and asked himself, "Young man, do you think I look like a human or a fairy? Where have workers seen such weird things?" He didn't dare to answer at all and fled back to the dormitory directly. As a result, he became seriously ill as soon as he returned to the dormitory. He went to the hospital and couldn't find out what was wrong with him. He is still lying in the hospital now. For this, Wang Chong was bored to the core. He didn't hesitate to bring people to the Jiangning department store trading bazaar to find an expert. I did find a few masters who looked very powerful, but they turned out to be some useless waste. Thought here. Wang Chong couldn't help but rub the center of his brows. His face was exhausted. That project cost more than 20 billion yuan, and he could earn 1 billion from it. If it is not resolved, it will be a big loss. "Boss, I heard that there is an expert in the south of the city. Talfard, that old guy is just a liar. I know better than you. So what should I do now? I raise you to ask me what to do. A bunch of trash." With Lin Feng's ear strength, naturally, he had already heard the words in the Hummer. This made him move in his heart, and immediately shouted loudly, "Omnipotent, omnipotent, especially good at exorcising demons, subduing demons, and suppressing ghosts. If you have such a thing at home, don't worry." Finished shouting, Lin Feng put away the stall, got up, and pretended to leave. And at this moment, a middle-aged man rushed down from the Humvee and shouted loudly, "Little brother, stop!" Hooked. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth turned up slightly. He stopped and took a look at the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man has a square face, one-line eyebrows, and an extraordinary bearing, giving people a feeling of calmness and prestige. This kind of person is either a gangster or a high-ranking person. Either way, they are not ordinary people. The most important is, this person's forehead actually had black hair, which is what the saying goes, the Yintang is black. Most people can't see this black energy. Only those with spiritual eyes like him can see it at a glance. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Wang Chong. I have limited time, so let's talk about things directly. Lin Feng looked like an expert. Hearing this, Wang Chong took a deep look at Lin Feng. Then he told what happened on the construction site. "Where is your construction site?" "It's just at the foot of Taihu Mountain, about kilometers away from the eastern suburbs," Wang Chong replied. Hearing this, Lin Feng already knew the general idea in his heart. Although it is true that it is the age of the end of the Dharma, there is spiritual energy in the world after all, and if there is spiritual energy, things like mountain spirits and ghosts will naturally be born. And what the workers encountered should be the so-called Huang Daxian begging for silence. This is not to say that the weasel is really going to become a fairy, but that it lived a long time and was born with wisdom, so it deliberately engaged in some crooked ways to satisfy its animal desires. To be honest, this kind of little monster's legs would be frightened when he saw Lin Feng. But Lin Feng still deliberately asked, "I see that there are quite a lot of high-level people in this market. How did you find me?" "Don't talk about it. The people in the market are all people who are trying to gain fame. They are all deceptive waste. Wang Chong's face was cold, and then he said, I know what you mean, as long as you can help me deal with this matter. How about I give you 2 yuan? Boss Wang, the matter is not as simple as you think. This matter is very troublesome. With all due respect, if this matter is not resolved quickly, not only your construction site, but also yourself will have an accident. Have you had a restless sleep the last few nights? Lin Feng looked at Wang Chong and said calmly. When Wang Chong heard this, his heart skipped a beat. Of course he knew it was troublesome. The construction site has been closed for many days, and the loss is hundreds of thousands a day. If this matter is not resolved, he will suffer a lot. In the last few nights, he always felt that a pair of eyes were staring at him when he was sleeping at night. But turn on the light, but can't see anything. This feeling terrified him. To be frank, he originally looked down on Lin Feng and came here with the attitude of treating a dead horse as a living horse doctor. But now hearing Lin Feng's words, I was a little shocked. Could it be that the man with facial paralysis in front of him is really an expert? Little brother, what do you mean? As far as I'm concerned, you need to pay more. Wang Chong glanced at Lin Feng. Not only was he not angry in his heart, but he was very happy. To add money, it means that the person in front of him may really have the ability, otherwise he would not say such a thing under normal circumstances. Then how much do you want? 10 yuan, I promise to help you solve it. Lin Feng said lightly. Wang Chong narrowed his eyes slightly upon hearing this. Although 10 yuan is nothing to him, it is a huge sum of money to an ordinary person. It is very likely that the whole family will not be able to earn so much money throughout the year. The highest price offered by the Taoist monk he had found before was only dash. Little brother, are you sure you can solve this matter? If it can be solved, money is not a problem. But if you dare to lie to me, I'm not afraid to tell you that if I crush a person like you to death, it's as easy as crushing an ant. Wang Chong said calmly. Don't worry, I won't lie to you. Of course, even if I lie to you, you have nothing to do with me. Lin Feng knew that Wang Chong must not be simple. But that's just for ordinary people. It's a fart for him. You have courage. Wang Chong couldn't help laughing when he heard the words. It had been a long time since he had seen a young man who dared not to take himself seriously. In that case, come with me to the construction site. Wang Chong turned around and walked towards a Humvee. No need to go to the construction site. Lin Feng shook his head and spent the few dollars he had on him to buy the cheapest pen, ink, paper, and inkstone in the market. Then he wrote a few random words on the paper with a pen and handed it to Wang Chong. Wang Chong looked at the ghost painting talisman in his hand. His expression was a little confused, and then his face turned ugly and said, Don't you tell me that everything can be settled with this piece of paper? Not bad. You guessed it right. When you go back, hang this piece of paper at the gate of the construction site. Remember to take precautions against rain and theft, so as not to damage it. Hang it for a while, and you'll be fine. Lin Feng said lightly. This is not an ordinary piece of paper. There is a rune written on it with aura as ink. As long as that weasel is not brain dead, he will definitely leave when he sees this rune. Of course, if this weasel is an idiot and wants to break into the construction site, then he is courting death. Wang Chong glanced at Lin Feng, then at the paper in his hand. His face was gloomy and uncertain. Didn't you just say it's troublesome? In the end, it was just a piece of blank paper with a few ghostly symbols written on it, and it cost me -yuan. He seriously suspected that he was cheated, but seeing Lin Feng's serious face, he thought maybe it was true. Okay, I'll just trust you once. If you lie to me, I guarantee that your whole family will be buried with you. Wang Chong said coldly. With this remark, the temperature in the field seemed to drop to 0 in an instant. Say what you just said again. Lin Feng stared at Wang Chong blankly. Facing Lin Feng's penetrating gaze, Wang Chong's goosebumps instantly shuddered, and he felt as if he would die at any time. Didn't understand what I said? Lin Feng raised his eyelids. Little brother, calm down first, Wang Chong said nervously. He didn't know why he was afraid, but his intuition told him that he had to give in. Otherwise, the consequences would be serious. This intuition has saved him countless times. Some things can be said, some things can't be said. Do you know? Lin Feng looked indifferent and said lightly, "Give me the money, pay the bill in full for 10 yuan, and there will be no arrears." Hearing the words, Wang Chong let out a foul breath. He waved to the Humvee not far away, and immediately 2 big men in black walked over quickly carrying a box. After opening the box, it turned out to be a box of 60 yuan bills, estimated at -million. Wang Chong took out -yuan and handed it to Lin Feng. Lin Feng never expected that Wang Chong would carry so much cash with him. He took the money, thought for a while, and said, "Actually, one talisman may not be safe. Why don't I draw 2 more for you?" "No need." The corners of Wang Chong's mouth twitched slightly. "Do you really think of yourself as a kid? Such a piece of crap." Even if he bought one for 10 yuan, he would feel a bit stupid. How could he buy a few more? In the future, if you want to buy it again, it will not be at this price. Lin Feng glanced at Wang Chong, turned around, and left with the money. He is quite satisfied with this transaction. With this 10 yuan, at least the current urgent need can be solved. Watching Lin Feng leave, Wang Chong's eyes kept flickering. This young man felt very dangerous to him. It was just a sentence just now which made him feel scared. To know, with his status, even if the entire Jinling city dared to offend him, there were only a handful of them. Thinking of this, Wang Chong directed to a subordinate beside him and said, "Xiaolong, follow him and find out where he lives and who is in his family. I want to see who this person is." "Yes, boss." The big man named Xiaolong nodded and hurriedly followed cautiously. After leaving the Jiangning department store trading bazaar, Lin Feng went straight to a nearby commercial street. "I said this morning that I was going to buy some new underwear for my sister. At the same time, you have to buy 2 mobile phones. In today's society, a mobile phone is a necessity. Otherwise, it would be too inconvenient to contact my sister." He also wants to teach his younger sister how to practice, but the 9 heavens divine Yanju can only be practiced if one is born with a spiritual body, and he doesn't know other breathing methods at the moment, so he can only postpone this matter for a while. As for the sneaky little dragon following behind, Lin Feng naturally knew, but he didn't care. Welcome to Victoria's Secret. As soon as Lin Feng entered the underwear store, a pretty salesperson greeted him with a smile. "According to the size of 32C, it's like giving me the latest models from your store," Lin Feng said. With his eyesight, he could tell at a glance that his sister's current bust was 32C. As for the styles of underwear, he didn't know much about them, so he asked the salesman to order them all. "Sir, your wife is so happy." When the salesperson saw such a big customer, the corners of his mouth burst into smiles. Lin Feng knew that the other party had misunderstood, but he did not explain. After spending more than 2 yuan to buy dozens of underwear, Lin Feng went to the mobile phone store and bought 2 latest versions of Huawei P70 mobile phones. Then I went to the supermarket to buy a lot of snacks, meat, eggs, and vegetables. After calculating the price, these things actually cost more than 4 yuan. In the past 10 years, prices have risen sharply, but those ordinary people have suffered. Lin Feng sighed. Although he is awesome now, he was just a child of ordinary people before. At this time, he found that the little dragon was still following him. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth turned slightly. He walked to a remote corner, flew straight into the sky, and disappeared into the sky. Seeing this scene, Xiaolong quickly rubbed his eyes, thinking that he was fooled. It wasn't until he found out that Lin Feng had really disappeared that his legs gave way in fright, and he sat down on the ground and quickly took out his mobile phone to call Wang Chong. "How's it going?" Boss, I lost my follow." "Lost it? Did you grow up eating shit?" "Really, I've been following him. After he took the money, he first bought a lot of women's underwear. Then he bought 2 Huawei mobile phones and a bunch of fruits and vegetable snacks. And then what? And then he flew away. Fly away. Is there a helicopter to pick him up? No, he flew away by himself." In a large construction site, Wang Chong put down his phone, his expression changing. "Flew away? How can that be? How could anyone in the world be able to fly? Isn't this pure nonsense?" At this time, a construction site manager with a red hat came over, looked at the white paper hanging in front of the door, and said suspiciously, Boss, just this piece of paper. Can it really exorcise evil spirits? It's not much different from what my son in the first grade of elementary school drew. If you can't do it, you have to do it. Otherwise, what can we do? Wang Chung replied coldly. I just felt a nameless anger in my heart. He decided to go back and find a few little stars to vent his anger. Otherwise, he would be suffocated to death. But as soon as he turned around, there was a dull sound from behind like a thunderbolt. Wang Chung looked back in horror. I saw that the ordinary white paper hanging on the mountain was emitting purple light at this moment. And under the white paper, there was a charred and blackened corpse of a small animal. It's a weasel. The person in charge of the construction site was stunned. His mouth grew wide, and he couldn't say a word. Has he ever seen such a strange scene? A thunderbolt fell from the white paper and killed an old weasel. Excellent. Nyobi. Wang Chung was very excited, knowing that he really met an expert. At the same time, in a cave about 8 or 9 kilometers away from the construction site, an old man with gray hair spat out a big mouthful of blood. An accident happened to Huang Huang. Who dares to touch my yellow? The old man wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and with a hideous expression on his face, he quickly ran towards the construction site. The distance of tens of kilometers can be reached in 1 minute. In order to avoid trouble, Lin Feng landed about 400 meters away from home and then walked slowly home with big and small bags. But after walking a few steps, he discovered the roar of engines coming from the direction of his home. Is it the sound of an excavator? Lin Feng's complexion changed slightly. From the conversation between my younger sister and Li Xiaoke, it is not difficult to guess that the demolition is not as simple as I imagined. This shows that it is very likely that someone came to demolish it. Moreover, my sister and Li Xiaoke are still at home, just 2 little girls. At this moment, Lin Feng's expression was frighteningly cold. The killing intent gushing out of his body almost dimmed the sky in this area. Very good. I haven't looked for you yet. How dare you take the initiative to come to me? I really don't know how death is written. Long Yunlin will die if touched, but for Lin Feng, his younger sister Xiaoyao is his Nilin. At the same time, in front of the dilapidated bungalow, 2 yellow excavators were parked. A dozen or so burly men stood beside the excavator, looking at the 2 young girls standing in front of them with a playful face, and spouted all kinds of dirty words from their mouths. Young and beautiful, with a slim waist and a face full of collagen, these 2 girls are not bad. This kind of thing can't be played without 3 or 4,000. 3 or 4,000. You want to eat farts. If you are a chick, you need at least 10,000 to start. I heard that I'm still a college student. TSK. College life is good. Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke blushed when they heard the obscene words of these hooligans. But there was nothing they could do. Neither of them dared to fight back, for fear of completely angering each other. You 2 little girls, get out of the way quickly. Otherwise, when the house collapses and hits both of your delicate little bodies, that brother will feel distressed. A middle-aged man in the lead said in a strange way. His eyes kept sweeping back and forth on Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke. The desire in his eyes was not concealed at all, like a hungry wolf. No, the demolition price hasn't been negotiated yet. This is forced demolition. It's against the law. I've already called the police. Just wait and see. Li Xiaoke opened his arms, protecting Lin Yunyao behind him like an old hen, and said through gritted teeth, "Oh, call the police? I'm so scared." The middle-aged man pretended to cover his chest, looking terrified. Then, he looked at the subordinates behind him again and said exaggeratedly, "Did you hear that? She said she had called the police." Call the police? It scares us. Hearing this, several subordinates had a hippie smile on their faces, and anyone with a discerning eye could see the mockery in their eyes. You. Li Xiaoke's face turned red, and he wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say at this moment. As a little girl, how could she fight such a ruffian? At this time, Lin Yunyao exhaled foul breath and said with a pale face, "Xiaoke, this matter has nothing to do with you. You should go now." "No, I'm leaving. What can you do alone?" Li Xiaoke shook his head quickly, with a worried look on his face. "Xiaoke, It's useless for you here. It will only hurt you. Lin Yunyao let out a miserable laugh. Li Xiaoke gritted his teeth when he heard this. A feeling of powerlessness emerged spontaneously. This group of people came prepared at first glance, and the relationship behind must have been established. It's just that she never expected that the forced demolition incident that she could only see in the news would actually happen to her one day. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you two. Get out of here. Glanced at the time. The leading middle-aged man's patience was obviously exhausted, and his tone was cold. This is my home. I won't let you move. Lin Yunyao had a determined face, but her slightly trembling body showed how much fear she had in her heart at the moment. Really? I've seen a lot of people like you who don't want to die, but have you ever cared about me? The leading middle-aged man sneered, then waved his hand. Come here, a few people. Lift these two little girls aside. If you dare to resist, hit me. Yes, Brother Chicken. Immediately, two younger brothers came out, walking towards Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke with smirks on their faces. As he walked, he kept smiling and rubbing his hands together. After all, it's normal to pinch, knead, and touch during the lifting process, isn't it? See this scene. Li Xiaoke took a step back in fear. Lin Yunyao, on the other hand, showed despair and felt chills all over. How she wished that a peerless hero could come to save her at this time, to help her solve the current crisis. Do not know why? Lin Feng's figure suddenly appeared in her mind. If the elder brother was there, would he stand up and save himself? Probably not. This time the other party came with so many people. Even if the elder brother was there, he probably stood aside in fear. Moreover, my brother is not a good person either. If he was a good person, why would he leave home for 10 years because of a woman? Seeing a few wretched men getting closer, Lin Yunyao picked up a brick from the ground and held it tightly. Even if she died, she would still defend her poor little dignity. But at this moment, you two go one step further, die. An extremely indifferent voice reached everyone's ears. The voice was so cold that it made the goosebumps all over the body stand up. Who is coming? Everyone was shocked to hear the sound, and found that the person who came was a young man with long hair fluttering, unshaven beard, and melancholy face. Brother. Lin Yunyao lost her gaze. She was still wondering if her brother was here. Would she take care of herself? In the end, I didn't expect my brother to actually appear, and walked over without hesitation. That shit. Li Xiaoke covered his mouth, looking at Lin Feng, who looked like a god descending from the earth, feeling very inconceivable. As for the 7 or 8 rascals in the field, they reacted immediately after being stunned for a short time. His complexion turned red for a while. Not afraid, but angry. Grass. With so many of them, they were almost intimidated by a kid, or the one with long hair. Artistic? What the hell? Are you out of your mind? Get the hell out of here. I'm leaving. What can you do to me? Stupid stuff. The two younger brothers were cursing. Both of them were getting close to Lin Shuyao and Li Xiaoke, and they were just waiting to make a move. They were almost not intimidated by Lin Feng's words, so they were naturally very upset. Seeing this, Brother Ji and his group all showed gay smiles. Lin Feng walked up to the two younger brothers expressionlessly. What about your mother? You look like a trash, and you still want to be a hero to save the beauty. Go away. Don't interfere with my good deeds. But the next moment, crack. At the same moment, the necks of the two younger brothers were pinched by Lin Feng's left and right hands, and they were easily lifted up. No matter how hard the two struggle, it will be of no avail. They are just like two little chicks. Seeing this scene, everyone's pupils shrank. These are two pound burly men, and they actually lifted one with each hand? How powerful is this? Lin Yunyao looked complicated. These 10 years, where did my brother go? How could it be so powerful all of a sudden? Boom! Lin Feng threw it casually, and threw the two younger brothers flying more than 10 meters away, and finally hit the ground heavily, bleeding from the mouth and nose, and remained motionless, not knowing whether it was dead or alive. Subsequently, Lin Feng's eyes shifted to Jige and his group not far away. His eyes were as cold as ice in hell, making people feel panic just by looking at them. Brother Chicken narrowed his eyes slightly. He felt a little danger from Lin Feng, but he was not afraid. No matter how powerful a person is, what can he do? 2 fists are no match for 4 hands, and there are so many younger brothers beside him, and the younger brothers still have steel knives pinned to their waists. He is very confident and determined. As long as I give an order, the kid in front of me will be chopped down immediately. But before that, he had to figure out Lin Feng's origin. Boy, who are you? How dare you meddle in my affairs? Three-Mouth Hall? Lin Feng searched for information about this force in his mind, but found that he had never heard of it. But this is also normal. After all, he didn't know anything about these things 10 years ago. On the other hand, Li Xiaoke, who was behind him, heard these 3 words. His complexion turned pale in an instant, and he said nervously, "Are you from Sankaotang?" Little girl, you have some knowledge." Brother Chicken sneered. Lin Yunyao was a little worried, looked at Li Xiaoke and asked, "Sankaotang, is it very powerful?" "Actually, I don't know very well." Li Xiaoke exhaled a foul breath and said nervously, "I know Sankaotang, and I learned about it from a roommate in the dormitory. It is said that Tan Ziming, the president of our student union, is the son of one of the 3 hall masters, and that Tan Ziming is unfathomable, and almost no one dares to provoke him. Even those leaders will bow their heads when they see Tan Ziming and call Tan Xiaohao." Hear this. Lin Yunyao subconsciously covered her mouth. The son of a hall master is so powerful? How terrifying should the whole Sanka Hall be? No wonder even the police don't want to deal with it. She was very scared and suddenly felt that her stubborn resistance was a joke. Most importantly, she didn't want her brother to have an accident. The elder brother appeared twice to save her. No matter how cold the ice in her heart was, it had already started to melt. "Lin Feng, forget it," Lin Yunyao said nervously. Lin Feng turned his head and glanced at his sister in surprise. "This was the first time my sister took the initiative to talk to him." Although the younger sister didn't call her brother, her tone was obviously much better, and what she said just now was obviously caring about herself. Thinking about it this way, he even felt a little grateful to Brother G and his group. Sure enough, no matter how useless waste is, it has its use value. Forget it? After beating my 2 men so badly, is it possible for you to tell me to forget it? If you don't give me 80, today's matter will never end. Brother G sneered when he heard Lin Yunyao's words. It's really endless. If you dare to bully my sister, there is only one ending. Lin Feng said something calmly. Then, without the slightest hesitation, squatting on the ground with 1 foot and shooting out with force, the whole person rushed towards Brother G and others like an arrow from the string. In fact, with his strength, just a wave of his hand is enough to easily wipe out this group of people. But this is a bit shocking to the world. Lin Feng doesn't want to scare his sister and her girlfriends. The ignorant are fearless. Brother G snorted coldly and waved his hand. A group of younger brothers behind him pulled out their steel knives one after another and charged forward with grim smiles. There are 8 strong men with steel knives. 8 to 1. How to see how to win. The next moment, boom, boom, crack. The 8 strong men with knives who rushed up were no match for Lin Feng at all. Lin Feng was expressionless and punched a child. In the blink of an eye, within a mere 10 seconds, the 8 fierce-looking strong men were knocked to the ground by Lin Feng's hammer. And how many bones on their bodies were broken? He vomited blood continuously from his mouth, and his face was bloody and bloody, making his scalp numb. Good, it's amazing. Watching this scene, Li Xiaoke was deeply shocked. Are you sure this isn't a movie? She stared straight at Lin Feng with bright eyes. I just feel that this unshaven, melancholy-faced uncle suddenly becomes super handsome. This can't really be Xiaoyao's brother. Can it? Lin Yunyao was also shocked from what happened last night. She already knew that her brother was a bit powerful, but she really didn't expect him to be so powerful. It's so easy to pick 8 out of 1. Will such a person come back to grab the demolition money from himself? No. Impossible. Brother G was completely frightened and stupid, and his heart was terrified. It's hard to accept this scene. This is really an exaggeration. Even if such a combat power is in the mouth, few people can achieve it. Now you. Lin Feng looked at Brother G calmly. Brother G shuddered, took a few steps back, and finally sat down on the ground. Facing such a terrifying existence, he hardly had the slightest desire to resist. "You don't come here!" Snapped. With one slap, Lin Feng slapped the chicken brother 4 or 5 meters away, knocking out how many teeth he lost. But Brother G didn't dare to say anything, but got up with difficulty, kept kowtow, and said in a trembling voice, "Brother, I was wrong. I knew I was wrong. If I had known you were so powerful, I wouldn't have dared to demolish your house." With a blank expression on his face, Lin Feng stepped on Brother G's face. And right now, Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke shouted in horror, "Lin Feng, be careful! Uncle, be careful!" Lin Feng looked up and saw that the driver inside the excavator was driving the bucket of the excavator to hit him. See this scene? A trace of excitement flashed across Brother G's eyes. If he hadn't been stepped on, he would have jumped up in excitement. "Aren't you great? See if you are the best, or the excavator is the best." However, next moment, I saw Lin Feng stretched out a hand calmly. The slender jade-like hand touched the bucket of the excavator in an instant. Boom! A violent, muffled sound exploded, and then the excavated soil, which was enough to crush concrete blocks, actually stopped in midair. No matter how the engine of the excavator roared or smoked, the bucket did not move at all, and was firmly blocked by Lin Feng's hand. See this scene? The driver of the excavator and Brother G swallowed their saliva. Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke even covered their mouths, their bright eyes opened wide. This is so. Is that true? Is it something that humans can do? Is it fun? Lin Feng moved his eyes to the people in the cab and asked calmly, "Okay, not fun. Whoa, I won't play anymore. It's not fun at all. I want to go home." Whereas the driver seen such a thing, she was so frightened that she burst into tears and wanted to run away, but found that her legs were trembling and she couldn't walk at all. "Don't cry. I'll take you home." Lin Feng picked up a small stone from the ground and flicked it lightly at the driver. Boom! The glass of the cab shattered instantly. The driver touched his body in horror, but found that he was fine, so he couldn't help but let out a long breath. Phew, I'm scared to death. How did he know that his lifeline had already been shattered by Lin Feng's stone, and death was only a matter of time? And because of the shattered lifeblood, the qi and blood supply will not be available at that time, and he will die in a state of extreme pain. And the reason for doing so? Naturally, it was because Lin Feng didn't want to kill someone in front of his sister yet. Boom! Lin Feng kicked Brother Chicken 4 or 5 meters away and said coldly, "Take your people, get out of here." Yes, yes, yes. Brother G didn't expect Lin Feng to let him go like this. He was pleasantly surprised, hurriedly struggled to get up, and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. A group of people squeezed on 2 excavators and ran away in a hurry. Lin Feng watched this scene coldly. The lifeline of this group of people has been cut off, and they will die in a short time. In addition, he also left a mark on Brother G. No matter where Brother G goes, he can find it. The whole family should be neat and tidy. He not only wants the lives of Brother G and his group, but also the people who instigated them, and even the Sankaotang must die. Thinking of this, Lin Feng exhaled a turbid breath, turned his eyes to his sister, forced a smile on his face, and asked, "Xiaoyao, are you okay?" Lin Yunyao looked at her brother with a complicated expression and did not reply for a while. On the other hand, Li Xiaoke, who was next to him, stepped forward and looked at Lin Feng with admiration. "Uncle, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You really can't look like you." After finishing speaking, she couldn't help reaching out and pinching Lin Feng's arm. With this pinch, her eyes glowed, and she turned around in surprise and said, "Xiaoyao, he's so tough. He's so tough, so powerful. Really too powerful." Lin Feng looked at Li Xiaoke, the corners of his mouth twitching slightly. If someone dared to pinch him like this, he would have slapped him long ago. "You can't really be Xiaoyao's brother, can you?" Li Xiaoke asked curiously again. "If it's fake, I'm Xiaoyao's brother." As Lin Feng spoke, he took a special look at his younger sister and found that his younger sister didn't deny it, so he couldn't help but feel happy. For the first time in 10 years, he felt happy. Umph. I knew it. If you weren't Xiao Yao's elder brother, how could you fight this group of ruffians desperately? Xiao Yao actually lied to me that you came here to shit. It's really... Li Xiaoke muttered in dissatisfaction. Xiaoke, don't talk nonsense. Lin Yunyao said hastily. Li Xiaoke stuck out his tongue playfully when he heard the words, but he didn't speak anymore, but his big watery eyes kept scanning Lin Feng and Lin Yunyao's body, not knowing what he was thinking. Taking advantage of the gap between the two of them talking, Lin Feng picked up all the things he bought in the afternoon and said, Xiao Yao, I went out this afternoon and bought you a lot of things. See if you like them? Lin Yunyao hesitated for a moment, but still reached out to take it. Let me see what I bought. Li Xiaoke hurriedly opened the bag and kept flipping through it. Wow, so many underwear. All of them are Victoria's Secret, a famous brand. So many underwear must cost a lot of money. Xiao Yao, your brother is too kind to you. There are also a lot of snacks, chicken feet, potato chips, spicy strips, chestnuts, pork buns, seaweed, puff cakes. Wow, all of them are my favorites. No, Xiao Yao, you score me a little. You know, I can't resist food at all. Li Xiaoke yelled as he flipped through the pages. Looking at this scene, Lin Yunyao felt a little proud for some reason. In the past, she was always envious of Li Xiaoke's endless snacks and endless beautiful clothes. But now it's finally Li Xiaoke's turn to envy her. Xiaoke, if you like it, you can eat whatever you want. A rare smile appeared on Lin Yunyao's exquisite face, and two small canine teeth were exposed. Seeing his younger sister smiling, Lin Feng also smiled foolishly beside him. Xiao Yao, your brother treats you so well. I really envy you. If only I had a brother. Li Xiaoke said with envy. Lin Yunyao glanced at Lin Feng, but said nothing. As the saying goes, people's hearts are made of flesh. She found that her brother still treated her very well, as she remembered. Not as bad as she imagined. Maybe there was an accident that year. And so, she decided to have a good talk with her brother later. By the way, Xiao Yao, I even bought you a mobile phone. As Lin Feng said, he quickly took out his mobile phone from his pocket and handed it to Lin Yunyao. Wow! It turned out to be Huawei P70. This is the latest model. It's close to 1 yuan. I didn't expect your brother to be a hidden rich man. Li Xiaoke screamed again, envious and didn't know what to say. The mobile phone she uses is only 3 yuan, and this mobile phone can buy her 3. Where did you get so much money? Lin Yunyao glanced at the phone and asked with a frown. After all, my brother doesn't dress like a rich man, so where did he get so much money to buy these things? If it was stolen or robbed, then she would never take it. Lin Feng thought for a while and said, I went to the city this afternoon and met a kind man. He thought I was pitiful and gave me -yuan. This statement came out. Both Li Xiaoke and Lin Yunyao were startled. A kind person gave away -yuan? Is there such a good thing in the world? But seeing Lin Feng's serious face, the two women actually believed it. Where is this kind man? I'll meet him too, Li Xiaoke said excitedly. Forget it. If you go, no one else will give it to you. Why? Is it because I look like a rich and beautiful woman, not short of money? No, because you don't know how to draw talismans. With such a treasure as Li Xiaoke present, the atmosphere in the venue instantly became harmonious. Especially brothers and sisters Lin Feng and Lin Yunyao. After what happened just now, their relationship has obviously eased a lot. Although the younger sister still didn't call him brother, Lin Feng believed that this day would not be too far away. At this moment, Lin Feng did not know what he sensed. He looked towards the east, and there was an unknown murderous intent in his deep eyes. Uncle, what's the matter? Li Xiaoke noticed something was wrong and asked curiously. It's okay. I just remembered that there is still something to do. You guys make dinner first, I'll be back later, let's get together tonight. Lin Feng said with a smile. Then you have to come back early. I'm afraid you don't know cooking skills. I cook very fast. Li Xiaoke turned arrogant. Lin Yunyao didn't speak, but she looked at Lin Feng silently with her big bright eyes, obviously hoping that Lin Feng would come back soon. Don't worry, I'll be back in half an hour at most. Lin Feng smiled slightly, seeing his younger sister and Li Xiaoke walk into the room. The smile on his face gradually cooled down, as if his smile only bloomed when he saw his younger sister. Did the fish take the bait? Words fall. Lin Feng found a remote corner, soared into the sky, and flew towards the east at high speed. At the same time, on the outskirts of the east of Jinling City, there is a resplendent villa. The villa is surrounded by green hills on three sides, with green water in front, gathering wind and restraining energy. The terrain is excellent. It is definitely a treasured place of geomantic omen. And at this moment, on the sofa in the lobby of the villa, there was a middle-aged man playing cards. "It's not good, brother who is not good." At this moment, Brother G rushed in a panic, speaking hurriedly, panicking. But Brother who didn't seem to hear him. After playing the cards, he let out a long breath and climbed off the sofa. "Big Chicken, what's the matter? Are you so flustered?" Brother who sat down on the sofa unhurriedly, lit a huazi, and asked calmly. Brother G glanced at the beautiful woman on the sofa, swallowed involuntarily, feeling envious and jealous. However, he also knew that this was not the time to feast his eyes, so he hurriedly told what happened just now. "One person knocked over a group of you and blocked the excavator with one hand?" "Yes. At that time, I was scared to death." "Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you know what an excavator is for? Let alone flesh and blood. Even concrete can be broken, and the human body can block an excavator." Brother who said coldly, "If he believed such stupid words, he would be a ghost." "Brother who, what I said is true. It is true." Brother G explained nervously, but Brother who just didn't believe it, which made him panic for a while. If Brother who thinks he is lying, the consequences will be serious. At this time, boom! The door of the villa was kicked open from the outside. Then, Lin Feng walked in with a calm face. "It's him, Brother who, it's him. Do you think we didn't lie to you?" Brother G was overjoyed when he saw that Lin Feng had followed him. The arrival of Lin Feng not only proved what they said just now, but also he can take revenge with Brother who around. "Huh? I didn't expect that someone would dare to come." Brother who was sitting on the sofa, with a flower in his hand, and looked at Lin Feng, who came in casually. He waved. 50 or 60 bodyguards in black rushed out from all directions and surrounded Lin Feng. "Go, drive an excavator over here. I want to see the scene where this man blocks the excavator with his bare hands." Before Lin Feng could reply, Brother who waved his hand lightly again. "Yes, Brother Tiger." A bodyguard in black gave Lin Feng a disdainful look and was about to go out to dig the excavator. As a result, just as he took a step, he was slapped flying by Lin Feng, and he was thrown heavily on the ground. He couldn't die anymore. This sudden scene instantly silenced the audience. Everyone's pupils shrunk. They didn't expect Lin Feng to be so arrogant. He was surrounded and dared to kill someone. "Sure enough, you have some strength. Kid, which path are you in?" Brother who stood up and asked coldly. He would not believe that such a murderous person would be as simple as an ordinary demolition household. Moreover, to be able to slap a dead person with one slap must have been practiced before. "Are you from Sankaotang?" Lin Feng's question and answer. "Yes, I am the third hall. Zheng Tianhu from the third hall." Brother who replied coldly. "Where is your Sankaotang headquarters?" Lin Feng asked again. This time, Brother who didn't reply, but took a deep look at Lin Feng. What does this young man mean? He came here alone. Did he really think he could beat his 5 number 60 troops? You have a grudge against us? I'm asking you. Where is the headquarters of your Sankaotang? Lin Feng asked again calmly. Fuck you, pretend to be a fool. Take this kid down for me, and I want him to know the fate of pretending to be a fool in front of me. Zheng Tianhu sneered. When dozens of bodyguards heard this, they immediately attacked Lin Feng, looking fierce and grinning, looking at Lin Feng like a clown. Lin Feng looked indifferent. As he pinched the supreme sword art, a 3-foot-long sword appeared in his hand out of thin air. Without his younger sister and Li Xiaoke around, he naturally has nothing to worry about. Magic. Brother who couldn't help being startled. But the next moment his eyes widened, seeing that Lin Feng just waved the long sword in his hand lightly. An invisible sword energy diffused out, and the dozens of bodyguards who besieged were all killed on the spot in an instant. Blood flowed all over the place. The villa, which was originally resplendent and magnificent, has now turned into a Shura hell. What? Ah! Seeing this scene, Brother Hu, the coquettish bitch, and Brother G immediately collapsed to the ground, howling in horror. With just one sword, more than 50 people were beheaded. How is this possible? You, who are you? Brother Hu looked at Lin Feng tremblingly, as if he was looking at a devil. I'll ask you again, where is the headquarters of Sankaotang? Lin Feng asked blankly. I don't know. Brother Hu said something in a trembling voice, then knelt down with a plop, begging for mercy incessantly. I have never seen such a horrible scene before. He even suspected that the young man in front of him was not a human being, but a god from the sky, because only gods can kill so many people in one breath, right? Lin Feng ignored Brother Hu's begging for mercy, stepped forward, and put his hand on Brother Hu's forehead. Mystery soul search. This kind of secret technique can forcibly search the memory in a person's mind, but the sequelae are huge, and 100% of the people who are searched will become idiots. Soon, Brother Hu's eyes turned white, he vomited foam, and passed out directly. Afterwards, Lin Feng indifferently searched the sea of consciousness of Ji Gu and the naked, alluring woman. I didn't expect it. The three of them didn't even know where the headquarters of Sankaotang was. This organization is very mysterious. Orders are conveyed layer by layer. The people at the lower level are just doing things and don't know anything at all. Situ Hao? Lin Feng was talking to himself. This Situ Hao is Zheng Tianhu's upper echelon. Perhaps finding Situ Hao can completely solve Sankaotang. But for Lin Feng, these are all trivial matters, and it will be fine to take the time to kill them. The most urgent thing is to go home and have dinner with my sister. Nothing is more important than this. After leaving the villa, Lin Feng waved lightly at the villa with his right hand, and a terrifying force poured out from his palm. Boom! The entire villa directly collapsed and turned into a mass of ruins. All the corpses and bones were buried underground. The entire demolition area was pitch black, except for the bright lights flickering in the small bungalow. From the window, two graceful figures could be vaguely seen busy at the moment. See the scene? The evil spirit permeating Lin Feng's body disappeared instantly, and a soft look flashed across his eyes. He quickened his pace, opened the door, and went back home, only to find that his sister and Li Xiaoke were cooking dinner in disgrace. Ah, why did you come back so soon? Don't look, don't look. When Li Xiaoke saw Lin Feng coming back, he panicked and quickly used his body to block the pitch-black dish. On the other hand, Lin Yunyao is very generous. In her hand was a pot of braised crucian carp, garnished with chopped green onions. The color was fresh and fragrant, and it was smoking hot. It was delicious at first glance. Do you need my help? Lin Feng asked with a smile. Go help. Just don't get in the way here. Li Xiaoke pushed Lin Feng outside with a guilty conscience. Help me take out the fish, and I can eat with a stir-fried dish. Lin Yunyao handed the braised fish to Lin Feng. Lin Feng took the braised fish, took another look at the dishes behind Li Xiaoke, and asked, Your black sesame is mushy. Do you want to take it out together? That's braised pork ribs, okay? What kind of black sesame paste? I have to go back to the pot to heat it up. You take the fish out first. Li Xiaoke was out of breath for a while. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows, but didn't say anything and left the kitchen with the fish in his hand. Soon, dinner is ready. 3 dishes and 1 soup, namely braised crucian carp, braised black pork ribs, stir-fried vegetables, and kelp egg soup. It's a very common home-cooked dish, but Lin Feng hasn't eaten it for 10 years. Li Xiaoke, did you add your own secret sauce to this black ribs? Lin Feng picked up a piece of black pork ribs and said teasingly. Pfft. Lin Yunyao couldn't help laughing, and then she seemed to feel that she was so bad and looked at Li Xiaoke apologetically. Li Xiaoke's face turned red, and then she said in embarrassment, Why are there so many for a meal? Don't look at my braised pork ribs, but they are actually delicious. Is it? Lin Feng put the ribs in his mouth, chewed carefully, and then nodded approvingly. It's really delicious. Really? Li Xiaoke asked subconsciously. Yeah, it tastes good. Lin Feng gave an affirmative answer. Li Xiaoke looked suspicious when he heard the words. She felt that Lin Feng said this on purpose, and then tricked herself into eating one to punish herself. Although she said that the ribs were delicious, she knew in her heart that the ribs must be terrible. It's really delicious. I won't lie to you. Lin Feng picked up a few more ribs one after another and started to eat them. See this scene. Li Xiaoke and Lin Yunyao looked at each other, and then picked up a piece of ribs in unison. But as soon as he took a bite, he couldn't help but spit it out. Bye-bye, you liar. It's so unpalatable. Li Xiaoke looked angry, thinking that Lin Feng had lied to him. Lin Yunyao couldn't help but rolled her eyes, with a look of resentment on her face. Really? I think it's delicious, much better than what I ate before. Lin Feng smiled. What did you eat before? Li Xiaoke asked curiously. Lin Feng thought for a while and replied, as long as it is edible, I can eat anything. Lin Yunyao's heart trembled when she heard the words, and her eyes gradually turned red. But she didn't say anything, but lowered her head and ate the rice in the bowl. Li Xiaoke seemed to feel that something was wrong with the atmosphere, so he stopped talking. At around 8 o'clock in the evening, Li Xiao laughed and said goodbye, and left in his little pink car. In the dilapidated bungalow, there are 2 brothers and sisters left. Lin Feng took the initiative to pick up the dishes and chopsticks and went to the kitchen to wash them, only to find that his sister had been watching him. He thought of the scene last night and sighed in his heart. But there was still a smile on his face, and he said, Don't worry, I will wash the dishes and chopsticks later, and then I will go out. Without your permission, I will not stay at home overnight. This is your home too. You don't need to go out. Lin Yunyao shook her head and said again, Lin Feng, I think we need to have a good talk. What do you want to know? 10 years ago, you said you were looking for a girlfriend, and then you never came back. What have you been doing these 10 years? Have you been with that woman named Chenino all the time? Lin Yunyao asked. Lin Feng thought for a while and said, I really want to cultivate immortality. I was forced. Lin Yunyao's face was full of disappointment when she heard the words and said, Lin Feng, are you still hiding from me? Still trying to lie to me? I thought you had some unavoidable reason. Lin Feng simply stretched out his right hand, and a wisp of hot flame burst out of his palm instantly. This is spiritual fire, which is produced by the burning of spiritual energy. The temperature at its center is as high as several thousand degrees. It can be said that 90% of the things on the earth can be easily burned. Xiaoyao, in fact, I know that it is difficult for you to accept such things as cultivating immortals, but it is real. I will teach you in the future. 10 years ago, I was taken away by that immortal cultivator. He forced me to cultivate immortality. 10 years later, he passed away. I was able to come back. To be honest, I'm very sorry for you, and I'm sorry for my parents. So no matter how much you complain about my brother, I won't be angry, because I know that you are also very wronged in your heart. Brother, don't say it. Lin Yunyao suddenly covered her mouth. Tears overflowed from her eyes. Although cultivating immortals is indeed amazing, she still chose to believe it in the end. Perhaps, to her, it doesn't matter whether she is really cultivating immortals or not. She just needs a reason for her to forgive her brother. That's all. The reason why she acted unreasonably before was because the past years were too miserable and she felt too wronged. So when she saw her brother come back, she couldn't help venting. Now that the fire in her heart has dissipated, she realizes that her brother is still the same brother and has not changed. What did you call me just now? Lin Feng's voice trembled slightly. Brother. I call you brother. I misunderstood you. I was arrogant and willful. I was unreasonable. Brother. Lin Yunyao couldn't bear it anymore and threw herself into Lin Feng's arms, crying like rain. At this moment, all the grievances, all the sadness and sadness were revealed, turning into tears and soaking Lin Feng's chest. Lin Feng patted his younger sister's back lightly. His eyes were also slightly red. And so until late at night, Lin Yunyao's crying gradually stopped. After crying a lot, she lay in her brother's arms, sleeping soundly and peacefully. It was the first time she had slept so deeply since her parents died 8 years ago. Sleep, sleep. From now on, no one will dare to bully you. And anyone who dares to bully you, brother will not let go. Lin Feng gently put his sister on the bed. His eyes were full of pity. Night is deep. Lin Feng came to the door alone, looking at the stars outside the sky. His expression seemed lost. After my sister mentioned just now, the woman who haunted his dreams reappeared in his mind. That smiling face, that cute girl bouncing up and down in front of her. He thought he could let it go, but at this moment he found that he couldn't let it go at all. Thinking about it this way, he couldn't help but take out his newly bought mobile phone and log into the Penguin account that he hadn't logged in for 10 years. Once boarded, there are all kinds of information sent over. There are former classmates, old friends, and Chania. Lin Feng flipped over. Most of the news was sent over 10 years ago. Classmates and friends are asking him where he went. Why can't people be found after graduating from university? Is it because you have grown up and ignored them, old friends? A few others asked him to borrow money. He didn't reply to the message and was blocked. Chania also posted a lot. What about asking others? Are you still coming to marry yourself? Lin Feng, if you don't come here again, my father will marry me to someone else. Lin Feng, don't you not reply to my message? I'm afraid. The most recent message was 3 years ago. Lin Feng, I really regret knowing you. Seeing these messages, Lin Feng felt extremely uncomfortable. He typed several times and wanted to reply to the message, but in the end he didn't send anything. After so many years, what's the point of replying to the message at this time? It will only disturb Chun Inua's peaceful life, after all. After calming down, Lin Feng sneaked into Chun Inua's penguin space. In her space, Lin Feng saw some photos of Chun Inua, including her own, and more photos of her with a 5 or 6-year-old girl. This little girl must be Chun Inua's daughter, right? In the photo, Chun Inua's face looks a lot older. Life seems to be unsatisfactory, no longer like the bouncing, innocent and lovely girl back then. Yeah, I know. Lin Feng gripped the phone tightly, feeling so sad that he couldn't breathe. He really loves this woman very much, but so what? 10 years. A whole 10 years. How many decades are there in life? Sanxing is lucky to meet you. Even if it is sad, it is love. Inua, I hope you will be happy in the future. Under the moonlight, Lin Feng's figure looked very depressed. Although it was impossible between the two of them, he still decided to go to Yunchuan City to find Chun Inua after the arrangements for his younger sister's enrollment were settled. Giving Inua a sum of money that he can never spend in his lifetime is the only thing he can do. At the same time, in front of the destroyed villa, a middle-aged man appeared. The man has a long face and a hooked nose. His face looks very sinister, and he is very difficult to mess with. What a powerful method. Was this done with dynamite? Who dares to touch my 3-legged person? The middle-aged man looked at the scene in front of him with a cold expression. Then, he took out his mobile phone and dialed out, and the call was connected quickly. Lord Situ, Zheng Tianhu is dead. The villa where he is located was destroyed by bombs, and the entire army is estimated to be wiped out. This statement came out. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Ada, I remember that Zheng Tianhu installed an invisible monitor on the banyan tree on the right side of the villa. You can go and see if there are any clues. Hearing this, Ada immediately looked around and saw a banyan tree and found a pinhole camera. He turned on the video recording to watch. A young man with long hair and a melancholy face appeared in the picture. The young man waved his hand, and the whole villa fell to the ground, and then the young man walked out of the monitoring range. Sure enough, it was blown up with a bomb. Ada narrowed his eyes slightly. Naturally, it is impossible for him to think that a young man can bring down a villa with a wave of his hand. I only thought that the young man was holding an explosion button in his hand, and the waving motion was just pressing the button. How's it going? A young man with long hair did it. He planted bombs around Zheng Tianhu's villa, and then blew up the entire villa. Very good. Find out his identity immediately. I want to see who dares to touch me. Yes, Master Situ. The night is fleeting. Lin Feng glanced at his younger sister, who was still sound asleep, then got up gently and went to the bathroom. He looked at his decadent and melancholy face in the mirror. After thinking about it, he shaved off the beard on his face with his finger sword, and then simply trimmed his long hair. After repairs are complete, He looked completely new and seemed to be in good spirits. If he was a melancholy uncle before, now he is a man full of maturity. In fact, Lin Feng is only 32 this year, and because of his cultivation, his appearance basically remained the same as it was 10 years ago, and he even had a more elegant and melancholic temperament. Handsome with a touch of decadence and sadness. This look is walking on the road. It is definitely a girl killer, and the rate of return is over the top. I think back then, I was also the schoolgirl of Jinling University. I was only a little worse than those who read this book. A gleam flashed across Lin Feng's eyes, thinking that 10 years later, he would become even more handsome. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps behind him. It was Lin Yunyao who walked over while rubbing her sleepy eyes. When she saw her brother, her expression instantly woke up, a little incredulous and a little shocked. "Brother, what are you?" "I haven't shaved or cut my hair for a long time, so my brother simply repaired it himself." Lin Feng smiled. Hearing this, Lin Yunyao hurried up, tilted her head playfully, and looked at her brother carefully. The face is like a crown jade, with sharp edges and corners. A pair of melancholy eyes are full of deep and mysterious colors, which makes people fall into it at the first glance. Before, my brother had an unshaven beard and too long hair, which made him look like a homeless man, but he didn't expect that he would be so handsome when he took care of it. What's wrong?" Seeing his sister like this, Lin Feng couldn't help feeling a little nervous. "Brother, you are so handsome. Even the big stars I see on TV are not as handsome as you," Lin Yunyao said with a smile. Lin Feng couldn't help rolling his eyes when he heard this. He thought, what was wrong? My sister is so beautiful. How can my brother not be handsome? Lin Feng fondled his sister's head. "Poor mouth. Get out, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm suffocating." While speaking, Lin Yunyao pushed her brother away, but there was an irresolvable smile in her big, clear, and bright eyes. After the brothers and sisters had breakfast, Li Xiaoke came here in that pink car. It was discussed last night. Lin Yunyao is going to report to school today, so Li Xiaoke came to pick her up early in the morning. "Wow, Xiaoyao, you actually hide in a golden house and eat alone." When Li Xiaoke saw Lin Feng, he was astonished. His eyes almost turned into heart shapes. "So handsome, so handsome. Saliva is coming out. How could there be such a handsome man in Xiaoyao's family? Don't you even know me?" Seeing Li Xiaoke is like a wolf and a tiger, the corners of Lin Feng's mouth twitched. "You, uncle." Li Xiaoke was shocked. At this time, Lin Yunyao came over and said with a smile, "I didn't expect my brother to be so handsome after shaving his beard and cutting his hair. It's really uncle." "Ah." Li Xiaoke looked at Lin Feng. His eyes glowed, and he was a hungry tiger. But Lin Feng mercilessly stretched out his right hand and pressed it against her forehead. Li Xiaoke kept waving his arms and said, "Uncle, you are so handsome. I want to give birth to a monkey for you, Lin Feng." After a while, Lin Feng and Lin Yunyao got into Li Xiaoke's car together and rushed towards Jinling University. Along the way, Li Xiaoke chatted about the precautions for going to school later, like a little sparrow. Of course, occasionally, a few words will be added to give birth to monkeys for Lin Feng. Lin Feng just laughed it off and didn't take it seriously. Of course, he knew that Li Xiaoke wouldn't really like him just because he was handsome. It's just that his personality was so lively and happy. About 4 and 10 minutes later, the car stopped at the gate of Jinling University. Jinling University, as one of the top 5 key universities in the Great Xia Kingdom, was bustling with people coming and going in front of the gate. "Uncle, I'll take Xiaoyao to report to a counselor. You can go shopping by yourself first, and I'll call you when we finish the admission procedures, and we'll go have dinner together." Li Xiaoke parked the car and said to Lin Feng, "I'll leave Xiaoyao's affairs to you." Lin Feng nodded, rubbed his sister's head again, and said, "Take the money I gave you and don't lose it. If you need anything, remember to call me." "Okay." Lin Yunyao nodded obediently. "I just feel that my brother is there, and my heart is full of security." At this time, Li Xiaoke said, "Hey, please is too hypocritical. It doesn't have any sincerity." Lin Feng replied speechlessly, "Then what do you think? Promise to have a monkey with me?" Watching the two girls leave, Lin Feng shook his head helplessly. This Li Xiaoka's character is really too weird, and I don't know how such a gentle and quiet girl like my sister became good friends with her. Not on a line at all. Afterwards, Lin Feng also wandered around Jinling University. 10 years ago, he was admitted to Jinling University with excellent grades and spent 4 years here. Now that I am back on campus, I recall my youth and frivolity back then, and I can't help feeling a lot of emotion in my heart. At this time, a surprised voice sounded from behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng, is that you? Lin Feng stopped in his tracks, looked back, and saw a familiar face. Yun Jingchu, his college classmates. The relationship between the two can only be said to be average. Back then, there were even conflicts over playing basketball. However, this is all in the past. A farewell to 10 years. At this moment, I suddenly saw an old classmate from the past. Lin Feng felt a little nostalgic in his heart and couldn't help showing a smile on his face. He waved his hand and said, "Old classmate, long time no see. So it's really you. I thought I was mistaken." Yun Jingchu walked forward with a smile on his face. "I haven't seen you for many years. Yun Jingchu should be very good." She was dressed in expensive and luxurious clothes, a white Versace t-shirt, black Armani slacks, and a large gold Rolex watch worth hundreds of thousands of dollars on her wrist. "Where did you go to get rich in the past 10 years? No one can contact you. You were absent from several class reunions. Everyone thought you were developed and didn't want to contact us old classmates." Yun Jingchu walked in front of Lin Feng, looked him up and down, and the smile on his mouth grew stronger. Lin Feng noticed Yun Jingchu's playful gaze, but he didn't care too much and replied with a smile. "To be honest, I've had a miserable life in the past 10 years. I can tell, otherwise you wouldn't have stopped contacting us." Yun Jingchu looked like a big brother and lightly patted Lin Feng on the shoulder. "If you need help, you can tell me. I open a listed company, and I can arrange a cleaning job for you. You can earn 5,000 yuan a month. It is not a problem to support your family." "Thank you, but I don't think I need it right now." Lin Feng responded politely. He knew that Yun Jingchu was showing off and flirting, but he just laughed it off. After 10 years, everyone has changed a lot. They have their own families and their own careers. When we meet again now, it is understandable to be better than anyone else. You have to know, it's not like it was 10 years ago. The economic environment is not good. Even for the cleaning job in my company, there are a lot of people applying for it. I'm just because you are my old classmate. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that." Yun Jingchu put his arms around Lin Feng's shoulders, showing great enthusiasm. Lin Feng heard the words and was about to reply. At this moment, a soft voice came from not far away. "Yun Jingchu, who are you talking to?" Lin Feng looked away and saw a beautiful figure. The woman was wearing an off-shoulder beige dress with long and straight jade legs. She has a graceful and plump figure, with a protruding front and back that is ready to come out. She has an elegant temperament and exudes the charm of a mature woman. Walking along the road, she has attracted the attention of many male students. There is no doubt that she is another business female elite. "Ah, Schwanger, come quickly and see who I ran into." When Yun Jingchu saw the woman, his handsome face smiled even brighter, and he quickly waved for her to come over. The woman walked over curiously when she heard the words, and when she saw Lin Feng, she covered her red lips in surprise. Her eyes were full of inconceivable colors. "Lin Feng, it's you." "Zhao Shuang, I haven't seen you in 10 years, so don't come here without any problems." There was a smile on the corner of Lin Feng's mouth. This woman was named Zhao Shuanger, and she was also one of his classmates. Back then, Zhao Shuanger was the study committee member of their class and the main officer of the student union. She was also exquisite and beautiful, and she was the dream lover of countless male students. But there is a secret that no one knows. That is, Zhao Shuanger once liked him and pursued him, but he was with Chun Yinhua at that time, so he naturally rejected Zhao Shuanger. Thinking of the green years in the past, Lin Feng couldn't help feeling a lot of emotion in his heart. "Damn, where have you been all these years? Why can't I get in touch with you? I thought something happened to you." Zhao Shuanger waved her white fist and lightly hammered Lin Feng's chest. Her delicate face was full of smiles, and her two shallow dimples looked very eye-catching. There was a surprise. Lin Feng always had an unchanging smile on his face. Zhao Shuang wanted to ask again after hearing the words. At this time, Yun Jingchu, who was next to him, shook his head and teased. Shuang, don't be so obsessed with exposing faults. As far as our brother Feng is now, what accidents do you think can happen? Just now I was talking about introducing him to a job. It's a pity that brother Feng doesn't want to. Zhao Shuang was stunned when she heard the words, and then began to look at Lin Feng carefully. Looking at Lin Feng's melancholy face and the old clothes he was wearing, he immediately understood something. Her watery eyes were a little complicated. Back then, Lin Feng was a man of influence in Jinling University, and he was recognized as a school grassroots. His handsome and charming face has made many teachers take good care of him. I don't know how many girls like him, including herself, who regards Lin Feng as a male god. At that time, But if you say a word to Lin Feng, you will blush. Now, times have changed. The male god back then is now in such a state of desperation. Although Lin Feng looked more handsome and temperamental, Zhao Shuang didn't have any special feelings in his heart. She is no longer the little girl who was obsessed with handsome guys back then. She has been struggling in the mall for so many years, and she pays more attention to contacts, wealth, and whether she can help herself. In other words, when she makes friends now, she usually puts interest first. But Zhao Shuang didn't show her dislike for being an old classmate after all. But after all, she was not as enthusiastic as Shi Kai. Lin Feng, if you are unemployed, you can accept Jingchu's help. You also know that it is difficult to find a job these days. There is no need to face and suffer. I will think about it. Lin Feng saw the change in Zhao Shuang and sighed slightly in his heart. Some things and some people, when they pass, they really pass. No matter how difficult it is to go back to the past, it is impossible to get back the feeling of the past. By the way, are you two coming to school today? Lin Feng changed the topic. Isn't this the school's selection of outstanding alumni? The class teacher contacted me and Shuang and came to participate as representatives of our class. Yun Jingchu replied with a smile. The complacency in his eyes was not concealed at all. This is indeed something to be proud of. As one of the top 5 key universities in the country, Jinling University has cultivated countless outstanding talents from all walks of life. It is not easy to stand out from so many outstanding talents and become an outstanding alumni. It can also be seen from this that Yun Jingchu and Zhao Shuang should have a good relationship. Either they are industry leaders, or their assets exceed $1 Lin Feng, the teacher in charge, is waiting for me and Yun Jingchu, so let's not talk about it. If there is a chance in the future, we will talk. Zhao Shuang waved her hands, ready to leave. Seeing how miserable Lin Feng was, she had no idea of communicating at all. That's right. The head teacher is still waiting for us. I almost forgot. Ah! Yun Jingchu smiled. Watching the two walk away, Lin Feng shook his head slightly. If the old classmate smiles as before, he doesn't mind giving him a chance. But if the other party acts superior and is a superior person, he will naturally not put a hot face on a cold ass. At this time, Lin Feng's phone rang, and it was from his sister Lin Yunyao. Brother, my admission procedures are completed. Let's go to eat. Hearing his sister's soft voice, Lin Feng raised the corner of his mouth and replied with a smile. Okay, I'll wait for you at the school gate. Soon, the three of them gathered at the gate of the school. As soon as Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke saw Lin Feng, they couldn't wait to trot up, each holding Lin Feng's arm one by one. Go. Why are you joining in the fun? Lin Feng gently pushed Li Xiaoke away, speechless. At the gate of the campus, people come and go. 2 beautiful girls are holding his arms at the same time, which is really quite enviable. Just for a short while, Lin Feng had already noticed countless murderous eyes. Uncle, you are so biased. Why can Xiaorao hold your arm, but I can't? Li Xiaoke had a resentful expression on his face. Because Xiaoyao is my younger sister. Lin Feng replied seriously. Then I'm your wife. I'm going to give you a monkey. Faint. Can this topic be passed? Lin Feng was too lazy to talk to Li Xiaoke, who was lively and unrestrained. So he turned his eyes to his sister and asked, Is there anything wrong with the admission procedure? No. The counselor is great. Seeing that my conditions are not good, he even said that he would help me apply for the poor student allowance. Lin Yunyao said obediently. That's good, but there is no need for poor student subsidies. Your brother can earn money, so give it to those in need. Lin Feng rubbed his sister's little head affectionately. Okay. Lin Yunyao smiled and nodded. Oh, uncle, it's good. I don't know how many people want a subsidy for poor students. At this time, Li Xiaoke smiled and took the opportunity to hold Lin Feng's arm. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. He really has nothing to do with Li Xiaoke. He can only let her do what he wants. When the three of them talked and laughed, oblivious to the fact that across the street, there was a woman in her 30s, wearing a white dress, with a withered face, holding the hand of a little girl, and was staring blankly at this scene. Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? The little girl asked softly. The little girl was about 5 or 6 years old, wearing a shabby princess dress with 2 croissant braids. Her skin was as pink as snow, and her facial features were exquisitely carved. The thick eyelashes on a pair of big eyes are long and curly, like a doll. But when she was speaking, the expression on her face was very dull, and even the words she spit out were vague. Her name is Lin Lianlian, a love that never forgets. It's okay. Mom is thinking about what to cook for Xiao Lianlian at night. A smile appeared on Chun Yinua's withered face. He held a shopping bag in one hand and picked up the little girl in the other hand, turned and walked towards the distance. The moment she turned around, silent tears flowed from her eyes. She rested her chin lightly on her daughter's shoulder, and tears kept rolling down her face. For so many years, despite her parents' dissuasion, after traveling thousands of miles, she brought her daughter from Yinchuan to Jinling, searching all the time, wanting to find the man who was deeply engraved in her mind. Everyone said that Lin Feng was missing. Maybe something happened. But as long as she doesn't see the corpse, she won't give up. I didn't expect to see it now. But her hopeful heart was completely shattered at this moment. Lin Feng, so you are not missing. So you really didn't die. It turns out that you only like girls from beginning to end. At this moment, Chen Yinhua was disheartened and gave up completely. He just wanted to leave the city immediately and return to his hometown. Lin Feng seemed to sense it and frowned. He raised his head and saw a skinny, unattractive woman holding a little girl in his arms and disappearing at the corner of the street. Brother, what's wrong? Lin Yunyao noticed her brother's gaze and asked aloud. It's okay. The woman holding the child is so strange. I heard her cry. Although the sound was very soft, I could still feel the despair and sadness in her heart. Lin Feng shook his head. It's probably another poor woman. Lin Yunyao replied. At this time, Li Xiaoke said very pitifully, I've seen that woman several times. It's really pitiful. Her daughter suffers from an extremely rare disease called Kabuki syndrome. This kind of disease is born with mental retardation, and it seems that she can't live to be 20 years old. There is no good cure at present. This is too pitiful. Lin Yunyao covered her mouth. Lin Feng had to act more calmly. There are too many poor people in this world. Who can manage them? He didn't think much, but said, It's getting late. Let's go eat first. Soon, the three of them came to a restaurant near Jinling University together. The name of the restaurant is Chuanxiang Pavilion. It is a restaurant famous for Sichuan and Hunan cuisine. It not only tastes good, but also has a high-end environment. It is a relatively famous old restaurant near Jinling University. I heard from my friend that it's very expensive here, more than 1,000 per person, Li Xiaoke said in a low voice. Although her family conditions are not bad, she seldom comes to this kind of place to eat. For her, the average per capita place of 200 yuan is already very good. It's so expensive. Why don't we change places? Anyway, we eat wherever we go. Lin Yunyao couldn't help but exclaimed. No, let's just go here. Today is your first day of school, so lunch should naturally be bigger. Besides, more than 1,000 yuan is quite standard, and it's not too expensive. Lin Feng replied with a smile. In fact, when he was in college, he followed the school leaders to eat at Chuanxiang Pavilion several times, so he still misses the dishes here. As the three of them walked into the restaurant, immediately, a pretty waitress came over, arranged seats for the three of them in the hall, and brought the menu. You can order whatever you want, and you don't need to save money. Lin Feng handed the menu to his sister and Li Xiaoke. Money is really no problem for him. He could make a lot of money whenever he wanted. Watching the two girls ordering food, Lin Feng also casually looked at the surrounding environment. Compared with the old wooden building in memory, Chuanxiang Pavilion has obviously been renovated again, with mahogany carvings, low-key and luxurious. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps at the door. It turned out that a group of school leaders walked into the restaurant. Beside the leader, Lin Feng saw two familiar figures. They were Yun Jingchu and Zhao Shuang'er. A group of people talked and laughed, relaxed and comfortable. Lin Feng looked indifferent. Remembering the scene just now, he didn't go up to say hello. Unexpectedly, at this time, Yun Jingchu's eyes lit up, and he walked towards him. Lin Feng, huh? What a coincidence. We separated just now, and now we meet again. Yun Jingchu smiled and stepped forward. When he saw Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke, there was another trace of jealousy in his eyes. As early as when he was in college, Lin Feng was the man of the school, the male god in the eyes of countless girls. Unexpectedly, 10 years later, Lin Feng had fallen into such a state, and he could still meet such a beautiful girl, which made him very upset. Yeah, it's a coincidence. Lin Feng replied indifferently. Yun Jingchu noticed the change in Lin Feng's attitude, but he didn't care. Today's Lin Feng and himself are one in the sky and one in the ground. They are not of the same level at all. Does the chairman of a listed company need to care about the thoughts of a poor man? Director Yun, who is this? A school leader came over and looked at Lin Feng. Behind the school leader is Zhao Shuang'er. Zhao Shuang'er looked at Lin Feng with calm eyes, as if she was looking at a stranger, without the enthusiasm she had just met. Vice President Wang, this is my old classmate named Lin Feng. Yun Jingchu introduced with a smile. Old classmate? Could it be that he is also a student of our Jinling University? Wang Tiangao was surprised. That's right. His name is Lin Feng, and he was a man of the hour in our school back then. He was called the school girl by everyone. There was a little teasing in Yun Jingchu's tone. Is it? Wang Tiangao warmly invited. Since they are also from our school, why don't we have a meal together? Since Principal Wang invited you, why don't you go to the private room with us, Lin Feng? It just saves the money for a meal. As far as I know, the consumption of this Chuanxiang Pavilion is not low. The corners of Yun Jingchu's mouth curled up slightly. It can be said that President Wang's move is exactly what he wants. At the party to come, as an outstanding alumnus and a donor, he will definitely have a bright future. If Lin Feng is present, his vanity can be well satisfied. Wasn't you Lin Feng very awesome back then? What now? You are just a piece of trash. And I, Yun Jingchu, am an elite person in society, and I am the object of everyone's pursuit. It still doesn't work. I have 3 people here. It's inconvenient. Lin Feng shook his head and politely refused. It's okay. The 2 of them can be together too. The box I booked is big enough. Yun Jingchu shifted his gaze to Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke and said with a smile, these 2 girls have clear eyes. They are definitely still young, and they are very beautiful. The most important thing is that these 2 girls have a close relationship with Lin Feng. Just such a reason is enough to make him tempted. If you can double, not knowing what to think of, a trace of obscenity flashed in the depths of Yun Jingchu's eyes. Although Yun Jingchu hid it well, Lin Feng still noticed it. His eyes turned cold, and he said coldly, I said it was inconvenient. Didn't you hear? Yun Jingchu narrowed his eyes slightly. It seems that he did not expect Lin Feng to dare to talk to himself like this. In his opinion, you, Lin Feng, are acting like this now. I invite you to dinner to save face. Why are you still pushing your nose on your face? However, he did not show any anger, but apologized. Lin Feng, I know you're not doing well right now. Seeing that I am so good, I may feel a little unbalanced, but as an old classmate, I sincerely want to get together with you. Shouldn't you still be angry with those years ago? Although you and I had some conflicts back then, those are all in the past. There's no need to keep them in your heart. Look. After all, he is the chairman of the listed company. This belly temperament is different. Several leaders around admired her very much, and Zhao Shuang was also brilliant. On the other hand, Lin Feng frowned slightly. He could see Yun Jingchu's character thoroughly. A typical villain with a hidden knife in his smile. He really had no desire to communicate with such a person, so he uttered a word coldly. Roll! Lin Feng, you? Yun Jingchu's smile was stiff, and he was very annoyed. Sure enough, there is a reason for being poor. With your arrogant personality like Lin Feng, it's no wonder you can do well. Student, you don't need to speak dirty, do you? Wang Tiangao frowned and said he felt that Lin Feng was too unqualified. And Zhao Shuanger frowned, stepped forward and said, Lin Feng, we are all old classmates. Jing Chu invited you with kindness and also wants to get together with you. I really don't understand why you are like this. Shuanger, isn't my meaning clear enough? Lin Feng looked at Zhao Shuanger with disappointment in his eyes. Back then, Zhao Shuanger was one of his best friends. No matter what time, he always stands firmly by his side, but now everything has changed after all. Honestly, you're so self-righteous, Zhao Shuanger said coldly. In fact, she could probably see Yun Jingchu's intentions, but she still chose to speak for Yun Jingchu. After all, Yun Jingchu is now the chairman of a listed company, while Lin Feng is just a jobless vagrant. There is no comparison at all. She didn't feel that she had done anything wrong. To be wrong, I can only blame you, Lin Feng, for being powerless and incompetent now, and no one else can blame you for being incompetent. Forget it, since Lin Feng is unwilling, we don't need to worry about him. After all, we will be people from two worlds. Zhao Shuanger looked at Yun Jingchu and said. Yun Jingchu's face was gloomy, and he was very unwilling. As expected, it should be Lin Feng who sees that he is rich and powerful, and then kneels and licks himself, instead of letting himself go in front of so many people like now. Yun Jingchu, doesn't he want to lose face? At this time, a half-century-old man with gray hair walked quickly into the Chuanxiang pavilion. Wearing gold-rimmed glasses, the old man walked steadily and looked very vigorous. This person is Lin Feng's former head teacher, Ouyang Xiao. Seeing Ouyang Xiao, Yun Jingchu's heart moved. He immediately smiled and waved and shouted, Teacher Ouyang here. Hearing this, Ouyang Xiao walked over quickly, and when he saw Lin Feng, he was surprised again. Old class, long time no see. Lin Feng stood up and gave enough respect to this former mentor. Then, the 50-year-old man in front of him treated him meticulously, treating him as a closed disciple, a proud student. No matter what good things happen, the first thing that comes to mind is him. It is precisely because of the care of this old man that he can flourish in Jinling University, where there are many talents. It can be said that this old man is one of the most respected people in Lin Feng's life. He originally planned to find an opportunity to pay a visit in person, but he didn't expect to meet him here. Xiaofeng, where have you been all these years? Ouyang Xiao looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. Why did the student he was most optimistic about back then become what he is now? Why did he abandon such a good girl as Inua? It's a long story. Lin Feng sighed. It's okay. Since you're back, go live your life well, and tell me if you have any difficulties. Ouyang Xiao didn't ask, but patted Lin Feng on the shoulder as before, giving him enough understanding. Okay. Lin Feng's nose suddenly became sour. Be a teacher for a day, and be a father for life. After the death of his father and mother, the old man in front of him is equivalent to his only elder. He, Lin Feng, doesn't care about everyone's attitude, but he cares about the limited number of people. Who are these two? At this time, Ouyang Xiao looked at Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke, who were beside him. Lin Feng said with a smile, This is my sister and her classmates. Xiao Yao, this is my brother's former homeroom teacher, and he is my brother's best teacher. Lin Yunyao and Li Xiaoke hurriedly stood up when they heard the words, and said obediently, Hello, Teacher Ouyang. Hello, Teacher Ouyang. Hello. Ouyang Xiao nodded, showing a kind smile. See this scene? A trace of dissatisfaction flashed across Yun Jingchu's eyes, and he felt that the head teacher was really partial. Back then, I looked at Lin Feng differently. Now that Lin Feng has become like this, he still has such a good attitude. Why? In what way is my Yun Jingshu worse than Lin Feng? Now I am the boss of a listed company, an outstanding young man in Jinling City, and an outstanding alumni of the school. I am sitting on nearly 1 billion assets, with countless luxury cars and villas under my name. And what does Lin Feng have? Apart from being a bit more handsome, in what way is he better than me? Yun Jingshu? Thinking of this, Yun Jingshu let out a foul breath and said, Mr. Ouyang, I thought it was rare for old classmates to get together, so I invited Lin Feng to have dinner together. He was not very willing. Is it? Ouyang Xiu frowned, then looked at Lin Feng and said, Xiaofeng, I haven't seen you in 10 years. Let's take this opportunity to have a good chat. The teacher also has something to tell you. It is good. This time, Lin Feng nodded and did not refuse. Soon, a group of people came to a box called the Emperor's Bag on the top floor of the Chuanxiang Pavilion. This box is worthy of being the most luxurious box in Chuanxiang Pavilion. With an area of nearly square meters, all kinds of facilities, and 5 service personnel alone, it can be said that even if you don't order anything, it will cost thousands of dollars just to open such a box. There are still some people who haven't come. Let's sit and chat for a while. Yun Jingshu looked like a host and smiled and called several school leaders to sit down. Several school leaders laughed and sat around Yun Jingshu, saying some compliments. From these words, Lin Feng heard some news. Jinling University is building a new independent college in the outer suburbs of the city. The project cost is about 3,000 million yuan, but the money is not enough now, and it is about million yuan short, so I hope Yun Jingshu can sponsor some. What do you mean by a little sponsorship? Isn't this trying to bury me? As a member of Jinling University, I, Yun Jingshu, can afford it with a mere 3,000 million yuan. Yun Jingshu said very generously. Dong Yun is magnificent. I knew it was not a problem to talk to Director Yun about it. Our school has a good student. Several school leaders headed by Wang Tiangao said with a smile. Zhao Shuanger on the side looked at Yun Jingshu with brilliant eyes. More than 3,000 million is not a small number. Being able to come up with so much cash in one go is enough to show Yun Jingshu's current strength. Yun Jingshu had been pursuing her before. She was hesitant and planned to observe more. But seeing this scene now, she felt that she could try dating Yun Jingshu. Hey, don't let me down. I just did something I thought I should do. Yun Jingshu pretended to be modest and said. While talking, he glanced at Lin Feng without any trace. When he saw Lin Feng looking at him, he felt a sense of relief in his heart. Ha ha ha. Lin Feng, you should know the difference between you and me by now, right? More than 3,000 million I will take out. What about you? Now more than 3,000 yuan may not be able to be taken out, right? Several school leaders and others noticed Yun Jingshu's gaze and glanced at Lin Feng one after another, but quickly withdrew their gazes. It's just a little transparency. It's not worth their time at all. In other words, Yun Jingshu invited him. Otherwise, ordinary people like Lin Feng are not qualified to eat with them. You really know how to pretend. Seeing that her brother was despised, Lin Yunyao was upset and said in a low voice. It's not a pretense. It's really amazing to be able to take out more than 3,000 million in cash. And I've heard of this Yun Jingshu, one of the top 10 outstanding youths in Jinling City. A recently emerged company named Tianjing the Group seems to be created by him alone. At this time, Li Xiaoke lowered his voice and said, So what? He's not as handsome as my brother. Lin Yunyao muttered something. Dizzy. Zhao Shuanger rolled her eyes when she heard this. Although this is the truth. But now it is useless to be handsome in this world. Having more money than hundreds of millions is king. Xiaoke, if you were asked to choose between him and my brother, which one would you choose? Lin Yunyao asked. Li Xiaoke thought for a while and said, Accordingly, I should choose Yun Jingshu, but you are my best friend, so I must be on your brother's side. Lin Yunyao immediately laughed when she heard this. Next to him, Lin Feng heard all the words of the two girls, and suddenly he couldn't laugh or cry. Li Xiaoke is such a treasure. At this time, Ouyang Xiu, who was sitting beside him, also said, Xiaofeng, the teacher said, "Don't be angry. Yun Jingchu is really doing well now. Many big people in the city have noticed him. If there is no accident, his future is boundless. There is nothing to be angry about. He has his bright road, and I have my single-plank bridge." Lin Feng shook his head. Alas, there is a sentence that the teacher doesn't know whether to say or not. Old class, just say it. Actually, people sometimes have to learn to let go. Only by letting go can there be gains. If you can get Yun Jingchu's help, you can easily change your current situation. I also know your ability. You just need a good platform. You should know better than me the story of suffering through hard work. Lin Feng looked at Ouyang Xiao with a sincere face, was silent for a moment, and then said with a smile, "Old man, if I do this, am I still Lin Feng? Besides, the current me may not be worse than Yun Jingchu." Ugh! Ouyang Xiao sighed when he heard the words, changed his words, and said, "What's the matter with you and Inoa? Weren't they good back then? How can we say that we should separate? Maybe it's a coincidence." Lin Feng looked a little pained. Apart from being sorry to his parents and sister in his life, Chen Inua should be the most sorry. Then, Chen Inua loves him so much, he doesn't care that he doesn't have a car or a house. Said that as long as she went to Yunchuan to propose marriage to her parents, she would marry herself regardless. Even though it's been so long, Lin Feng still remembered the scene before parting. That night, in front of Jinling railway station, neon lights flashed. While helping him straighten his collar, Chen Inua said softly, "Lin Feng, I'm going home first. Remember to come early. At that time, I'll give you a big surprise." In a blink of an eye, 10 years have passed. 10 years have passed. After all, she couldn't wait for her arrival. "Actually, Inua came to me not long ago and asked me if I had seen you," Ouyang Xiao said. Lin Feng's heart trembled, and he asked, "And then, she seems to be having a bad time. We haven't seen each other for a few years, and the whole person has changed. She is no longer like the lively and lovely little girl back then." "Oh." I asked her what's the matter. She refused to say, just left a phone number, saying that if I see you, I will give you this phone number, so that you must contact her. While talking, Ouyang Xiao took out a pen and paper, wrote a phone number, and handed it to Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at the number on the note, feeling inexplicable. After hesitating for a moment, he took the note and walked out of the box. "Lin Feng, the meeting is about to start. Where are you going?" Yun Jingchu had been paying attention to Lin Feng, so he immediately asked loudly, "If Lin Feng leaves, who will he pretend to be for tonight?" But Lin Feng ignored him as if he didn't hear him, and walked out of the box. "Gone!" Yun Jingchu clenched his fists. The anger in his heart made him wish he could find a group of people to come over and trample Lin Feng under his feet. The moths of society, the generation of ants. Why on earth are you so crazy? Dare to ignore me again and again? Director Yun, it's just a little transparency. There's no need to care about him. A school leader saw that something was wrong and said immediately, "Jingchu, you and Lin Feng are people from two different worlds. He doesn't deserve your attention." Zhao Shuanger also persuaded softly, "You misunderstood me. I'm just afraid that I won't entertain you well. Lin Feng may have a bad attitude, but I am a person who values relationships very much. He is my old classmate, and I can't lose his face." The smile returned to Yun Jingchu's face, but there was a trace of coldness in the depths of his eyes. Lin Feng has offended him completely by humiliating him again and again. Without the slightest hesitation, he took out his phone and sent a message. After Lin Feng walked out of the box, he found a remote corner, took out his mobile phone, and called according to the number on the note. The matter has come to this point, only to face it. He has decided, if Chen Inua is really having a bad time, then he will chase Chen Inua back again. When you love someone, you can tolerate everything about her. Moreover, after all, Lin Feng, betrayed her. The call was quickly connected. "Hey." Chen Inua's hoarse voice came from the other end of the phone. This voice is not at all like a 30-year-old woman should have, but rather like a voice that can only be uttered by a woman who has experienced many vicissitudes. "It's me." Lin Feng's voice trembled slightly. I'm Lin Feng. I'm back. There was a long silence on the phone, and then hung up the phone directly. Lin Feng did not give up and called again, but this time the other party did not pick up the connection. Yeah, I know. Lin Feng clenched his fists, and a bitter smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. At the same time, in a dark, narrow basement, holding an old mobile phone, Chinua sat on the bed in a daze, with tears streaming down her eyes silently. If before, when she heard Lin Feng's call, she would definitely scold him and ask him where he's been all these years. Why did you play missing? But during the day, when she saw Lin Feng cuddling with two young girls, her heart completely died. It's not that she doesn't believe Lin Feng, but what reason does she have for herself to believe now? Chun Inua walked to the mirror and looked at himself in the mirror. With a haggard face and withered yellow hair, she looks like a yellow-faced woman in her 50s or -s. Thinking of the hardship she has suffered in the past 10 years, she only feels that she is such a fool. Obviously, she is white and beautiful. Why you want to toss yourself like this? The chicken feathers in life are like a pile of dog shit. Just for the so-called ridiculous love? Mommy. At this time, a girl in a pink dress suddenly woke up from her dream. The little girl has big eyes, long eyelashes, and exquisite facial features like a doll, but the whole person looks very dull. Mommy is here. Chun Inua hurriedly comforted her distressly, and after the little girl gradually calmed down, she took out the phone and dialed out. After the call was connected, the voice hoarsely said, Mom, I was wrong. I want to go home tomorrow. You finally figured it out. Don't blame your dad. Your dad sees you suffering and hurts in his heart. If he doesn't freeze your card, you will never give up. A woman on the other end of the phone comforted me. Then the woman said, do you still remember the Jiang family? Remember, it's like this. Your brother will go to Jinling City in a few days. If you are in trouble now, you can go to Jiang's house for help, and then go back with your brother, okay? Chunina was silent for a moment. The Jiang family is a famous family in Jinling City 1. The fiancé her mother introduced to her before was also a child of the Jiang family. So she naturally knew what her mother meant by saying this. If it was placed before, she would not be able to agree, but now it doesn't matter anymore. It is good, Chun Inua replied. After hanging up the phone, her haggard face instantly became indifferent. She swore that from now on, she would never let anyone bully herself and her daughter again. Absolutely not. The other side, Lin Feng silently returned to the box. Brother, are you okay? Lin Yunyao noticed something was wrong and asked worriedly. Fine. Lin Feng shook his head. In fact, Chun Inua's reaction was within his expectations. After dating for 7 years, he knows Chun Inua's character so well. Chun Inua is a person who is very serious about relationships. Now that she was married and had a daughter, no matter how bad her life was, she couldn't take care of herself anymore. What puzzled him was why did Chun Inua leave his phone number to the teacher? What did she say? At this time, Ouyang Xiu asked from the side. Say hello, then hang up. Lin Feng smiled wryly. This? Impossible. When she left her phone number, it was for you to call her. Ouyang Xiu frowned. Maybe something happened halfway that I don't know about. Lin Feng shook his head and sighed again. Alas, the matter has come to this point. It is useless to say any more. Some things and some people, after the past, it is really the past. Blindly forcing it is not good for both parties. Ouyang Xiu nodded. As the teacher of 2 people, there is a limit to what he can do. I also understand things like feelings, and outsiders can't help them. The trouble should end it. As time flows, several people came one after another in the box. They are all the leaders of the school and some people in charge of the construction of the new campus. When these people came, they all nodded and bowed to Yun Jingchu, showing enthusiasm. It's better to be famous than to meet him. Director Yun is really a good-looking talent. Director Yun, this time I will trouble you. Mr. Yun, if there is a chance, I will be the host. Treat you to a meal, and then you must be rewarded with face. Everyone is so disgusting to me. It is my honor to contribute to my alma mater. Yun Jingchu held his head high and held his chest high, enjoying everyone's support. In particular, These people are the leaders of their alma mater, which makes him feel more accomplished. At this time, Wang Tiangao looked at Lin Feng and said lightly, Director Yun just has a stomach. Unlike some people who have a small belly and no ability, this air is quite high. This statement came out. Everyone in the field looked at Lin Feng with strange expressions on their faces. Some people who came later didn't know why Vice President Wang targeted Lin Feng, but after the people next to him explained it, they immediately understood. Got it? Another person whose heart is higher than the sky and whose life is lower than paper. They've seen a lot of people like this. So after a short glance, he withdrew his gaze. Today's occasion is when they and Yun Jing first established a relationship, so there is no need to waste time on an overconfident aunt. Why do you say that about my brother? Lin Yunyao couldn't hear someone say that about her brother, so she immediately asked angrily. Xiao Yao, don't talk nonsense. Li Xiaoke, who was beside him, hastily grabbed Lin Yunyao. Wang Tiangao is the vice president of Jinling University, and they are students of Jinling University. When Xiao Yao said this, it was as if she was roasting herself on the fire. Are you a student of our school? Wang Tiangao looked at Lin Yunyao with a gloomy expression. Without waiting for Lin Yunyao to reply, Li Xiaoke quickly stood up and said with a smile, Principal Wang, Xiao Yao is still young and ignorant, so don't be as knowledgeable as her. Young people must look like young people. Don't think that if you are full of blood, you can be fearless. Otherwise, the price you have to pay is not something you can bear. You are young. You don't know how to measure. If you don't want to go to school, I can satisfy you. Wang Tiangao snorted coldly. Lin Yunyao turned pale upon hearing this. She didn't expect the other party to be so unreasonable and directly threaten her with her student status. See the scene? Yun Jingchu folded his arms around his chest, as if he was watching a play. He knew that Wang Tiangao did this intentionally to please himself, but he was still secretly happy. Beside, Zhao Shuanger shook her head slightly, thinking it was ridiculous. I didn't expect Lin Feng to be ignorant, but his sister was so stupid. Sure enough, the family does not enter the house. You are a mere civilian with no power. What qualifications do you have to question a school leader? Principal Wang, what you said is a bit serious. Let's have fun at the party tonight. There is no need to make such a fuss. At this time, Ouyang Xiu saw that something was wrong, so he hurriedly tried to persuade him to make peace. Mr. Ouyang, this matter has nothing to do with you. Don't meddle in it. Wang Tiangao didn't save Ouyang's face at all. Although Ouyang Xiu is an old teacher of the school, he is the vice principal of the school. No matter in terms of status or power, Ouyang Xiu cannot compare. Some people will never know the heights of the sky and the depths of the earth if they don't teach them a lesson. Director Yun's good words are to give him face. Wang Tiangao, don't need to give him face. I despise this kind of person who has no ability and likes to put on airs the most. He is just a waste. Wang Tiangao looked at Lin Feng and criticized unceremoniously. In fact, he had disliked Lin Feng as early as in the hall outside, and now he just found an excuse to get angry. Do you think you are so handsome? Lin Feng raised his eyelids and looked at Wang Tiangao calmly with deep eyes. For some reason, facing Lin Feng's eyes, Wang Tiangao's heart suddenly tightened, and he felt as if he was being targeted by a devil. But soon he reacted. The vice president of a prestigious key university need to be afraid of such a small person? Am I right? Wang Tiangao sneered. Are you right? Let's talk about it. But you just yelled at my sister. I once swore that after I came back, I would not allow anyone to bully my sister again. Lin Feng stood up and looked at Wang Tiangao expressionlessly. Now, I will give you a chance to make amends and apologize to my sister. I can consider letting you go. Let me apologize to this little girl. Do you think it's possible? Wang Tiangao mocked. So this is your choice? There was no color on Lin Feng's face. This moment, the atmosphere in the field was suppressed to the extreme. Some people felt hairy and felt a little nervous. What does Lin Feng want to do? Do you still want to beat Principal Wang? Aside, the corners of Yun Jingchu's mouth curled up slightly. He knew it was his turn to play. I only need to say a word casually, and I can easily resolve the crisis at this moment. This can not only pretend to be compared in front of everyone, but also make Lin Feng grateful to himself. Thinking about it this way, Yun Jingchu coughed twice, left his seat, walked to Lin Feng's side, patted Lin Feng's shoulder, and said with a smile, Okay. I'm the host today. Everyone should say a few words. Don't make trouble like this. Say it. He looked at Wang Tiangao again and said, Principal Wang, do me a favor. Let's leave it at that. Lin Feng is my old classmate, and his sister is also my sister. Since Chairman Yun has spoken, I will naturally give this face. Wang Tiangao shrugged indifferently. His purpose was to make friends with Yun Jingchu. Since Yun Jingchu had said so, he naturally wanted to save face. As for Lin Feng and Lin Yunyao, in his eyes, they're just little people. If they are happy, they will be rewarded with a candy, and if they are unhappy, they will be suppressed. It is purely for fun. Seeing this scene, everyone in the field nodded secretly. I really feel that Yunjing Chuki is extraordinary. Lin Feng ignored him like that before, but he still treats each other sincerely. In today's society, such young people are really rare. No wonder he was selected as one of the top 10 outstanding youths in Jinling City. There is a reason for his career to develop to such an extent. Lin Feng, you still haven't thanked Jing Chu. If Jing Chu didn't help you today, you would be miserable. Zhao Shuanger said loudly not far away. No need, old classmate. Yun Jingchu smiled slightly, but a pair of eyes were looking at Lin Feng, and anyone with a discerning eye knew that they were waiting for Lin Feng's thanks. However, at this time, boom! Lin Feng slapped Yun Jingchu's fan away, then looked at Wang Tiangao coldly and said, I'll give you the last 10 seconds to choose. If you don't apologize to my sister, I promise you won't survive tonight. If you think I'm joking, you can try with your own life. This sudden scene made the whole box instantly quiet. Everyone's mouth widened, dumbfounded. Ouyang Xiu lost his gaze. Zhao Shuanger is completely stupid. Yun Jingchu on the ground covered his red and swollen face, full of disbelief. How dare he hit himself? How dare he hit me? Yun Jingchu tightly clenched his fists and said coldly, Lin Feng, what the hell do you mean? I speak for you, and you still hit me? Lin Feng ignored him directly, still staring at Wang Tiangao coldly, and started the countdown. 3. Yes. I'm sorry. Wang Tiangao spoke nervously. There was already a trace of cold sweat on his forehead. Lin Feng's gaze was really penetrating, like those cold-blooded and ruthless killers on TV, which made him feel a strong sense of fear. This feeling of fear made goosebumps all over his body tremble, as if he didn't apologize, he would really die. That's all. This Lin Feng is a small person at the bottom of the society, and I am the vice president of Jinling University, so there is no need to get acquainted with this kind of person. Wang Tiangao comforted himself like this in his heart. Seeing that Wang Tiangao actually apologized, everyone in the venue showed complicated expressions. But on second thought, this is also normal. Those with bare feet are not afraid of wearing shoes. People like Lin Feng probably have a distorted mentality. It's not that I'm afraid. It's just that it's really unnecessary to be tough with this kind of person. With their identities, there are 10,000 ways to make Lin Feng unable to eat. What's the use of saying sorry to me? Lin Feng said coldly. I'm sorry, little girl. I was the one who was rude just now. Wang Tiangao looked at Lin Yunyao with a smile on his face. I feel very aggrieved. I knew it earlier. Come here today and bring a few bodyguards with you. But who would have thought that this would happen? It's okay. Lin Yunyao felt complicated. Although Wang Tiangao apologized now, but after that, she can almost predict her next fate, and being expelled is basically certain. But she doesn't blame her brother either. No matter what, my brother is standing up for her. If even she blamed her brother for his wrong behavior, how sad he would be. Since you apologize, what happened just now is over. I don't want my sister to drop out of school because of this. Do you understand? Lin Feng said again. That's natural. Wang Tiangao nodded hastily, secretly thinking that he is a high-level intellectual, so there is no need to haggle with this kind of person. I hope you can do it, or I promise you will regret it. Lin Feng said calmly. He knew that it was useless to reason with a modern scholar like Wang Tiangao, who only obeyed fists. Old man, I'm afraid I won't be able to eat tonight. When I have time later, I will treat you alone, Lin Feng said to Ouyang Xiu again, with an apologetic face. Ugh! Ouyang Xiu didn't answer, but just let out a long sigh. It's just too easy to fold. Why doesn't Xiaofeng know this truth? This made him helpless, but also painful. Xiaoyao, let's go, Lin Feng said to his sister. Okay. Lin Yunyao nodded, and followed behind her brother obediently. Li Xiaoka hesitated for a while, but also chose to follow. But right now, stop for me. Yun Jingchu's expression was cold and blocked the way of the three of them. Being slapped by Lin Feng in front of so many people, he naturally couldn't just let it go. Since Lin Feng is so ignorant of flattery, then I can only satisfy him. Lin Feng, you slapped me and wanted to leave just like that. Do you think it's possible? Yun Jingchu asked coldly. What? You think one slap is not enough, and you want to take it a few more times? Lin Feng asked. The corner of Yun Jingchu's mouth twitched when he heard that. Special? Do you mean this yourself? Go away. For the sake of my former classmates, I don't want to embarrass you too much. You'd better not be overwhelmed, Lin Feng said. Overestimate yourself? I really don't know where you got the courage to talk to me like this. Yun Jingchu was extremely angry and laughed instead. He clapped his hands and 7 or 8 bodyguards in black rushed in from outside the box. These black-clothed bodyguards were 7 feet tall, with cold faces and bulging muscles, and they had impressive combat prowess at first glance. See this scene. Everyone in the field was shocked. I just said that as Director Yun, how come there are no bodyguards around? It turns out that they are all hidden in the dark. Have you seen the big guy in the lead? I've seen this guy on TV before. His name is Zhao Hu. He is not only a retired special soldier, but he also won the top dash in the 8-city joint fighting competition in Jiangnan province. He's so powerful. The gold content of the 8-city joint fighting competition is very high, and there are many fighting masters. This Zhao Hu can be ranked in the top dash, and it is probably not a problem to be 1 against 10. Director Yun is still rich. It is estimated that hiring a bodyguard of this level will cost at least 70 to dash a year. Hearing everyone's discussion, Zhao Hu showed disdain. A group of ignorant and frail scholars. What is 1 against 10? As for you ordinary people, it is not a problem for me to hit 50 or 60. Of course, he was only thinking this way in his heart, and naturally, he would not say it directly on the surface. After all, it is useless to fight in today's society. Money is king. Even if he is so powerful, he still has to work for the rich to support his family. Director Yin, what happened? Zhao Hu asked loudly. His pair of big copper furnace eyes glanced at everyone in the field contemptuously, and there seemed to be a flame burning in his pupils. The people he saw had hairy bodies, and they felt as if they were being stared at by a humanoid beast, and they shuddered. Even Li Xiaoka and Lin Yunyao were a little scared and hid behind Lin Feng. With the arrival of Zhao Hu and his men, Yun Jingchu's momentum changed obviously. With his arms folded around his chest, the corners of his mouth slightly turned up, his eyes stared at Lin Feng playfully, as if he wanted to see a trace of panic on Lin Feng's face. Unexpectedly, Lin Feng's face didn't change at all, as if he didn't see Zhao Hu and the others. Are you scared? What a waste. Yun Jingchu's face was full of disdain. Jingchu, after all, I'm still a classmate, so take it easy. At this time, Zhao Shuanger persuaded from the side. Although she didn't want to have any contact with Lin Feng, but she thought about the friendship she had, so she didn't want to make things too big. After all, if 8 bodyguards go up together, they will really kill people. Thinking of this, Zhao Shuanger looked at Lin Feng with pity in his eyes. Lin Feng, do you think it was 10 years ago? Now you are an ant in front of Yun Jingchu. He really drove him into a hurry. Just spending 1 or 2 million yuan can kill you, you know? Shuanger, you've seen it too. It's not that I'm looking for trouble. In fact, I've been holding back my anger. Try not to conflict with him, but do you see how he did it? Yun Jingchu looked at Lin Feng and said coldly. He actually gave me a slap without hesitation. You said that I, Yun Jingchu, am now a prominent figure in Jinling City, so if I just forget about it, how am I going to mess around in the future? With this remark, Zhao, who next to him, said angrily, "What? Director Yin, this kid just hit you?" "That's right. You were not here just now. This person is crazy and ruthless." Yun Jingchu nodded lightly. "Damn it, kid, you were so courageous. You even dare to fight our Yun Dong. Are you courting death?" Zhao, who looked at Lin Feng coldly and rubbed his sandbag-sized fist vigorously. His finger bones creaked, which made everyone present shudder. "This Nima is too scary. If this punch hits someone, who can bear it?" "Xiaofeng, hurry up and apologize to Jingchu." Afraid of accidents, Ouyang Xiu immediately stood up and signaled Lin Feng to apologize. But as soon as he finished speaking, Yin Jingchu stopped him. "Teacher Ouyang, it's not that I don't give you face. Today's matter can't be solved with an apology. What do you want?" Ouyang Xiu frowned. "It's very simple. Let Lin Feng kneel down and apologize to me, and then let me slap 10 big mouths and forget about it." Yun Jingchu looked at Lin Feng and said contemptuously, "Hear this?" Everyone in the field was stunned. "It's fine to kneel down and apologize, but you still have to slap 10 big mouths?" Even those school leaders who were unhappy with Lin Feng felt that Yun Jingchu's conditions were a bit too much, but they don't mind their own business. In their view, Lin Feng deserved his own fault. "You want me to kneel down and apologize to you?" Lin Feng looked at Yun Jingchu with great interest. "That's right. Today you have to kneel down without any discussion. Otherwise..." Boom! After a dull sound, Yun Jingchu was kicked flying by Lin Feng and finally smashed heavily on the dining table, smashing the dishes on the dining table to pieces and spurting a mouthful of blood from his mouth. "What?" Yun Jingchu groaned in pain. "I tried several times to get up, but couldn't get up." Sigh. Seeing this scene, everyone in the field gasped. No one expected that at this time, Lin Feng would dare to strike, and the strike was so heavy that he beat Yun Jingchu into such a forceful state. Is this crazy? I just don't know how to write dead characters. Soon, the 8 bodyguards responded. 7 bodyguards stepped forward and surrounded Lin Feng to prevent him from escaping. Zhao, who rushed forward to help Yun Jingchu up. "Director Yin, are you all right?" Zhao Hu asked nervously. Yun Jingchu pushed Zhao Hu away, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and then looked at Lin Feng coldly, his expression extremely ugly. "Lin Feng, you are really looking for death. If the tiger doesn't show its power, do you really think of me as Hello Kitty? Hit me! Hit me hard!" The words fall. The 7 bodyguards surrounding Lin Feng did not hesitate to attack. As can be seen, these 7 bodyguards were all Lianjiatsi. Their chassis was very stable, and they punched extremely fast. They attacked Lin Feng from 4 directions, almost blocking all of Lin Feng's escape routes. But in the face of such a rigorous attack, Lin Feng just stood there quietly, motionless. It wasn't until the moment when the fists of the 7 arrived that he jumped and kicked in a 360-degree roundabout. Boom! 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 The 7 strong bodyguards were instantly kicked away by him 7 or 8 meters away. In the end, they all smashed heavily on the wall of the box, creating a crack visible to the naked eye. See this scene. Everyone in the field fell into a sluggish state, unable to recover for a long time. With 1 against 7, 7 will fly away with 1 kick. Is this something people can do? Impossible. Yun Jingchu tightly clenched his fists, his expression extremely ferocious. In his memory, Lin Feng was obviously a weak scholar. He didn't know how to fight at all. Why is it so powerful now? Uncle is so handsome. Li Xiaoko waved his small fists. Little stars were about to pop out of his eyes. Are you sure you're not filming a TV series? 360-degree roundhouse kick. This is a scene that can only be seen in TV dramas. Lin Yinyao's eyes were full of splendor. Although she knew that her brother was an immortal cultivator and this was just a small case, she still felt very excited seeing her brother being so proficient. This is my brother. Invincible brother. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. So there are 2 brushes, but that's all. I don't need 10 tricks to deal with you. At this moment, Zhao Hu said something abruptly. This statement came out. Yun Jingchu regained his composure in an instant, let out a long breath, and once again had a confident smile on his face. So, what if Lin Feng can fight 7 against 1? The Zhao Hu next to him is one of the top dash in the Jiangnan Provincial Fighting League, so it's not a problem if 1 equals 50. Isn't it simple to hit you with Lin Feng? Others in the field also shook their heads slightly, their eyes returning to their original color. To be honest, Lin Feng really surprised them. No one expected that Lin Feng's seemingly weak body could burst out with such terrifying power. But it's a pity that the strong are even stronger. With Zhao Hu around, it's not Lin Feng's turn to show off his prestige. Lin Feng, have you been learning martial arts in the past 10 years? The move just now did have 2 tricks, but if you think you can bully me like this, then I can only say that your thinking is too simple. Yun Jingchu said lightly. Before Lin Feng could reply, he said confidently, Zhao Hu, I spend 200 million a year to treat you, and now you can finally show your usefulness. This statement came out. Everyone in the field was shocked again. They thought they could invite Zhao Hu for 60 million yuan, but they didn't expect it to be 200 million yuan. This is enough to prove Zhao Hu's terrifying strength. Without the corresponding strength, can you get such a generous reward? Director Yun, don't worry. I'll let you know right now whether your 200 million flowers are worth it. Zhao Hu grinned grimly and strode towards Lin Feng. He was so arrogant and domineering that he directly punched Lin Feng's chest. In his opinion, Lin Feng definitely couldn't dodge his own punch. After a long period of training, his shooting speed has reached an unbelievable level, and ordinary people can't react at all. Unexpectedly, Lin Feng easily dodged his fist. Then, feel free to kick it out. Boom! Zhao Hu, who weighed more than 200 kilograms, was kicked out mercilessly. In the end, he hit the wall heavily, vomiting blood from his mouth, which was extremely miserable. Is this the bodyguard of 2 million? It's not that good. Lin Feng looked at Yun Jingchu and said calmly. This moment, the audience suddenly fell silent. Everyone stared blankly at Zhao, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog. His heart was overwhelmed, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. 1 kick, still just 1 foot. Is it the top dash contestants who KO the Jiangnan Provincial Fighting Competition? If you didn't see it with your own eyes, who would dare to believe it? Lin Feng, how could he be so strong? No, it's impossible. Yun Jingchu growled angrily. The handsome face was almost distorted, looking extremely ferocious. This is obviously my home field. It was obvious that he wanted to trample Lin Feng's face under his feet. But now, what is this? Right now, Yun Jingchu could even feel the strange gazes of the people around him. Even Zhao Shuanger looked at him suspiciously. It seems to be saying, are you too spicy? You can't even deal with Lin Feng? Zhao Shuanger is the object of his pursuit now. Having lost such a big face in front of the woman he loves, Yun Jingchu's mentality really collapsed. He stared at Lin Feng with bloodshot eyes, and his voice was a little hoarse. Lin Feng, it is absolutely impossible for you to beat Zhao Hu. You must have used some indecent means, right? Yun Jingchu, do you think this is interesting? Lin Feng asked calmly. For him, Yun Jingchu is just an ant among all living beings. If it weren't for his former classmates, he would never have said a word to Yun Jingchu. After all, he is a nostalgic person. For some old friends, he cherishes the friendship in the past, but things always backfire. Of course, it's interesting. I'm the chairman of a listed company with hundreds of millions of assets, and you're just a piece of trash. Lin Feng, when you were in school, you always bullied me. Do you still want to bully me now? 30 years in Hedong and 30 years in Heshi. What do you compare me to? Why are you arrogant with me? So, what if you can fight? In this world, it's useless to be able to fight. Yun Jingchu made a sound again and again, venting the grievance in his heart, as if he wanted to use words to regain the face he had just lost. Lin Feng looked at Yun Jingchu's ferocious face and fell silent. I suddenly felt dull in my heart. Not interesting. The world of mortals is in various states, and the waves wash away the sand. The long river of time rushes by, and those unforgettable pasts are short-lived in the end, and it is difficult to cause the slightest wave. Perhaps only the way of Tao is eternal. That's all. This is the end of the story. From now on, you will follow your sunny path, and I will take my single-plank bridge. Lin Feng shook his head and said lightly, subsequently, turn around and leave with my sister and Li Xiaoke. Everyone in the field looked at the backs of the three leaving, all with complicated expressions on their faces. Especially Zhao Shuanger. The eyes are even more turbulent, and it is difficult to calm down in the heart. She can't figure it out. Lin Feng is clearly in such a state of despair. Why is he still so confident? Working hard in the mall for 10 years. She is very sensible and knows what to do and what not to do. But seeing Lin Feng at this moment, for some reason, his calm heart was stirred again. This feeling is like going back to the basketball game 10 years ago. She and Chen Yinhua cheered for Lin Feng together. Her heart was pounding. Unfortunately, after all, it's over. As Yun Jingchu said, it is useless in today's society to be able to fight. If you can fight, can you beat guns? Rich and powerful is king. And these two, Lin Feng didn't have any. Thinking of this, Zhao Shuanger's eyes gradually calmed down, feeling that her emotions just now were too inappropriate. At this time, Yun Jingchu roared unwillingly. Lin Feng, let me tell you, this matter is endless. I will not let you go. I will let you know how big the gap is between you and me now. Then, Lin Feng stopped in his tracks. He is a person who doesn't like to cause trouble very much, and he thinks about avoiding future troubles in everything he does. Just like the person who destroyed that villa before, leaving no one alive. Therefore, Yun Jingchu's words made him a little bit murderous. Lin Feng looked back at Yun Jingchu and said slowly, do you have to do this? When Yun Jingchu heard the words, his heart skipped a beat, and he couldn't help taking a small step back. Wang Tiangao and the others also changed their expressions slightly. He secretly scolded Yun Jingchu in his heart for being too stupid. You can't mess with others right now. Why do you have to be so cheap? If you should be cowardly, be cowardly. If someone wants to leave, just let him go. Wouldn't it be flattering to take revenge secretly when the time comes? Well, since you don't want to forget it, then I will give you one last chance and allow you to call for help. Now, bring me the person you think is the best. No matter how many people come, I will wait here. Remember, there's only one chance. Lin Feng said lightly. Yun Jingchu was overjoyed when he heard the words. He almost looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. He didn't expect Lin Feng to be so arrogant. Isn't this humiliating? Do you really think that you are the god of war descending to earth, invincible in the world? Is what you said true? Yun Jingchu suppressed the joy in his heart and asked pretendingly calmly. Of course it is true, but you have to know that there is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Since I am willing to let you find someone, then if the person you find can't settle me, you will have to pay the corresponding price. Lin Feng said very seriously. What? At what price? Yun Jingchu asked subconsciously. Accordingly, the price should be your life. But after all, it's an old classmate, so I'll give you a -% discount. Just break your limbs. Lin Feng glanced at Yun Jingchu and persuaded him kindly. To be honest, I hope you still choose to stop now, because I really gave you too many opportunities. You have to admit defeat if you have to admit defeat. The water in this world is very deep, and you can't grasp it. Hearing the previous words, Yun Jingchu was still a little scared in his heart. After all, breaking limbs is not a joke. But after hearing the words, in an instant his blood surged, and he was extremely angry. What does it mean that the water is so deep that I can't grasp it? King Vagrant, the bottom of society. Are you worthy of saying such things? I, Yun Jingchu, can't beat you except in terms of vision, experience, qualifications, and social circle. Which one is not far ahead of you? How does a frog at the bottom of a well know the world outside the well? Lin Feng, I'll let you know how big the gap is between you and me right now. Yun Jingchu sneered. Subsequently, he took out his mobile phone and made a call. Soon, the call is connected. A deep voice came from over there. Who? Wang Dong, it's me. I'm Yun Jingchu from Tianjin Group. Last time I had dinner with you, Yun Jingchu said with a smile. Although the other party did not save his number, he was not angry, but rather respectful. This scene, it made everyone in the field look extremely solemn. With Yun Jingchu's status, he is definitely a respectable figure in Jinling City. It is absolutely unimaginable that the person on the phone can be treated so respectfully by him. Wang Dong? Is there any important person named Wang in Jinling City? Everyone was thinking in their minds. Suddenly, I don't know what to think of. Everyone's heart froze. Looking at Lin Feng again, there was already a hint of gloating and pity in his eyes. If it is what they guessed, that this Lin Feng is miserable. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone before replying. It turned out to be Director Yun, the investor in the construction project of the Jinling University branch campus. What? Do you have anything to do? You don't dare to call me Director Yun. You can just call me Xiao Yun. It's like this. Yun Jingchu looked excited and hurriedly told what happened to him one by one. I hope the other party can send someone over to help me solve this trouble. Of course. In his respectful words, he also euphemistically proposed that he would give a certain reward. Regarding this Director Wang, he had specifically inquired about it. As long as he was willing to pay, everything would be easy to talk about. As predicted, the other end of the phone immediately replied. Chuanxiang Pavilion, right? I happen to be not far from here. I'm going there now, and I'm expected to arrive in 10 minutes. Words fall. The phone was hung up. On the other hand, Yun Jingchu was holding the mobile phone and fell into a huge surprise, unable to recover from it for a long time. Wang Dong actually came over in person. Wang Dong actually wanted to come over in person. This sentence kept popping up in Yun Jingchu's mind. His entire body was trembling slightly from overexcitement. As expected, Wang Dong will send a few men over at most. Never thought that his real deity would come. To know, as Wang Dong, in the entire Jinling City, how many people can let him come forward in person? Oh, and Yun Jingchu was indeed the chosen one. I was so lucky that I happened to meet Wang Dong nearby. Yun Jingchu's heart burst into laughter. He swept away the sluggishness just now, held his head high, full of arrogance, and looked at Lin Feng with contempt. At this time, Wang Tiangao asked solemnly, Mr. Yun, is it Mr. Wang that you mentioned just now? That's right. It's Director Wang of Qinglong Construction Group. Yun Jingchu said lightly. Hear this. The pupils of everyone in the field shrunk slightly, and the eyes they looked at Yun Jingchu changed obviously. They never expected that Yun Jingchu's connections had reached such a level that he could even make friends with giants in Jinling City. Even Zhao Shuanger couldn't calm down. With a market value of over -billion yuan, Qinglong Construction Group is the leading enterprise in the construction industry of Jinling City. Its group chairman, Wang Chong, is also rumored to be one of the 3 major gangs in Jinling City, the leader of the Qinglong gang. Although in today's society ruled by law, these gang affairs are no longer on the table, but only those who have contact with this aspect will know that gangs still exist, but they are just dormant. Gangs control almost every aspect of society. Even some big gangs have established relationships with some famous families, controlling the social order. Although Yun Jingchu's Tianjin Group has been listed, it is still far behind such a leading company. Zhao Shuanger never thought that Yun Jingchu would be able to make friends with such a giant as Wang Chong. Actually, it's thanks to my alma mater that I got to know Mr. Wang. You should know who is the contractor for the construction project of Jinling branch this time. Yun Jingchu glanced at Lin Feng and deliberately slowed down his tone. Of course we know this. I am in charge of the bidding work, and the winning bidder is Tianhong Engineering Construction Company, Limited. A school leader replied immediately. Not bad. But in fact, the actual controlling shareholder of Tianhong Company is the Director Wang of Qinglong Group. Yun Jingchu couldn't help laughing and said again, Before you contacted me and asked me to invest in the construction of the campus, I went to the construction site to take a look. In the end, I saw Wang Dong in the construction site. At that time, I thought I was mistaken. After all, how could someone like Wang Dong go to the construction site? I took out my mobile phone and searched the pictures on Baidu. It turned out that it was really Wang Dong. So, I immediately rushed forward and took the opportunity to make friends. And I got Wang Dong's mobile phone number. Hear this. Everyone was shocked and envious at the same time. The life of this man. Opportunity is really bad. Some people can not only meet, but also grasp it in time. And some people will never meet in a lifetime. And even if they do, it will just be lost in vain. There really is a reason for Director Yun to have achieved today's achievements. Admiration. Admiration. Wang Tiangao's tone was obviously respectful. Although he had a very good attitude towards Yun Jingshu before, it was just a normal discussion. But now that Yun Jingshu has a relationship with Wang Dong of Qinglong Group, the meaning is completely different. Dong Yun really is a dragon and a phoenix among men. Director Yun, you must take care of us old fellows in the future. The others also laughed out loud. To put it bluntly, it is making friends, but to put it bluntly, it is simply flattering. Zhao Shuanger also looked at Yun Jingshu with a look of admiration. The tenderness in her eyes seemed to want to drown Yun Jingshu in it. Don't worry. Drink water and never forget the well digger. You are all my mentors. I, Yun Jingshu, have forgotten anyone, and I will never forget you. Yun Jingshu said in a very personable manner. The smiles on everyone's faces became even stronger when they heard the words. Not bad. Yun Jingshu is indeed an excellent character. Strong ability, modesty, neither arrogance nor impetuosity. These are the necessary conditions for those who achieve great things. And see this scene. Li Xiaoke couldn't help feeling a little worried. Naturally, she has heard of Qinglong Construction Group, which is a very strong company. And as we all know, this kind of enterprise engaged in engineering has more or less hard power. Uncle, why don't we go? This Qinglong Group is really not easy to mess with, Li Xiaoke said in a low voice. Lin Feng thought for a while and said, You and Xiaoyao go first, I will go back by myself then. He was afraid that the scene would be too bloody and it would scare the two little girls, and it would be meaningless for them to stay here. Uncle, don't be arrogant. Please. Li Xiaoke already had a hint of pleading on his face. She looked at Lin Yunyao again, wanting Xiaoyao to persuade her brother as well. Unexpectedly, Lin Yunyao directly pulled her and walked outside. Xiaoyao, what are you doing? It's okay. I believe, brother. As Lin Yunyao said, she grabbed Li Xiaoke and left the box. But at the moment of leaving the box, there was also a hint of worry in her clear eyes. Although the elder brother said that he is a cultivator, how can the younger sister not be worried? But she knew that it was useless for her to stay here, so she might as well leave with Xiao Ku as soon as possible, so as not to cause accidents, and it would be bad for her brother to share. And watching the two women leave, Yun Jingshu just sneered and didn't stop him. As long as Lin Feng doesn't leave, he doesn't care if the others stay. As time passed by every minute, the atmosphere in the arena gradually became tense. Everyone was dignified, silent, waiting for Wang Dong's arrival quietly. How many people? People like Zhao Shuanger and Wang Tiangao glanced at Lin Feng from time to time, their eyes full of pity, as if they were looking at a poor little bug. As for these gazes, Lin Feng directly ignored them, because he knows no words are as convincing as the facts. Wait a minute. He only needs to knock down this so-called Wang Dong with one punch, and then lightly break Yun Jingshu's limbs, to make this group of people shut up. That's it. About 20 minutes passed. Suddenly, there was a sound of footsteps outside the box. Listen carefully. The footsteps are neat and uniform, crisp and thick, like a well-trained army. Oh my God! How many people are here? Everyone's heart tightened, and they stood up quickly.